Alright, indeed, a very, very good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us at this edition of The Tackle. It is 31st of August 2022, 31 mwezi wa 8 mwaka 2022. I hope you're doing well, mamka vizuri, and you are ready to tackle the day with us, or to tackle the morning with us. It's another Siasa Wednesday edition of the 31st of August 2022. It's a pleasure to have you. Kama kawaida, when you join in, please like when you like. We get to know that you're watching us. And please share. When you share, you give someone else an opportunity to watch the broadcast, the Siasa Wednesday edition of the 31st of August 2022. When you join in, please like when you like. We get to know that you're watching us. And please share. When you share, you give someone else an opportunity to watch the broadcast. Let me know where you're watching us from this morning. Where are you watching us from this morning? Where are you watching us from this morning? And that is the situation. Kama umeingia pale, naona tayari ushafika mapema watu wameamka. So when you join in, please make sure that you share. Make sure that you share. Kama umeingia kwenye broadcast and you've not shared, then maze, hapo kuna shida kidogo. Kama kawaida, lazima tuende mbele za Mungu tuombe, alafu tukirudi basi tunakuja kuwapa salamu zenu. Mighty Father, we come before you this morning. We worship you, glorify your name. Thank you for another opportunity to be alive. We thank you for this conversation. Even as we take it off, may it edify the fabric of this country. For every tackler who's joining us this morning, may meet them at the point of individual needs. For you pray, trusting and believing. Amen. This morning we're having two visitors. Kama kaida tuko na Arnold Maliba. He's not yet in, but he should be in shortly. Pia tuko na Mheshimiwa Justina who would have been the deputy president of this country. Na nimemuuliza kulienda aje huko, tulikuwa tumeanza kungoa mahindi tukasema ukulima mpya unaanza. Ukulima wa fagi. Pia wanapenda andika kwa ndio zote angalia kina nani wameanza kuamka mapema hii. Naona Hillary Mokochot, good morning to you. Good morning. Lentika Lensalen, mwisho wa salama sana Kipkwechi, good morning. Honorable Mbogo Washiko, please. Leo nisalimia general. Nimekusalimia Honorable Mbogo Washiko, salimika zaidi. Good morning to you. Amili Kosge all the way from diaspora Australia. Anasema tuned in the show where issues are tackled. Good morning, general. Good morning to you. Amili Kosge all the way from should be Perth, Australia, right? Yusta Kipchirchir Modir following from Doha, Qatar. Asante DC Chilelgo Tukoimara. Asante Babake Quincy Wendy. Bro, good morning to you Babake Quincy. Laina Suswa mate, good morning sir. Ambode Kitonga, good morning Bito from Kericho, asante. Lentika Lenza Nairobi live, Chris Matu tuned in from Karatina Madhira. Ilarlele, good morning. Ildamat tuko sawa, General Jana was lit waiting for the guest. Asante Isaka Baba Africa, Kipelian West Kericho, Kimutakiru Elvis, good morning Kericho, good morning to you. Khalif Brown, bro, we now want to tackle TV. Good morning, son of the soil. Good morning to you, Khalif, good to see you. Delson Moses Benjamin, morning, Mombasa logged in. Babake Quincy Wendy tuned in. Patel Pete Taros, good morning. And someone from Eldoret. Ambassador Alfred Sargent, Salimia Madam DP. She's smart and beautiful, falling from Itigo, Bath County, number 48. All right. To Perth, Australia. Thank you. Good to see you, Ambassador. Adikechebo, good morning. GB, a great Wednesday in our all-time great show. Tell Justina, asalimia tafadhali bwana. Ala, mesema usalimiwe. Telega. Delegat Mary, live from Westlands in the Kirwaki Mosby, Kapsisi, and Andy County. Side Askip. Good morning, GB. Live from Diaspora Santa. Jonam Tai Chemiron. Good morning, GB. Watching from Minneapolis, Minnesota. Good job. Chairman Manakusha Kettle Dip. Good morning. And some good time in Kiboko yao. Wow. MC Kale Wamae atuombe bwana. Tarudia tuombe maombi ya rasta. And Majike Malama good work. Asante sana kikose Starus. Good morning, Gladys JC. Good morning, Anchama Okerosi. Good morning to you. Mungai Polo. Good to see you, my brother. Billy B at it. Good morning. Mercy Ivy. Kibra is 7 cool. And brother Alpha Sama tulikata miti. Sahi tunachoma makaa. Ala, walisema tingiza miti sio kata miti. Tingiza miti sio kata miti. Let's see how the traffic as you're coming in. Please let us know where you're watching out from as you're coming in. Let's look at the traffic situation on your roads. Mombasa Road looks all clean this morning. Nothing to worry about. Some little traffic at Nyayo about, but nothing to really worry you. Langata Road, since the completion of the T-Mall overpass, things look very smooth on Mombasa Road, but there seems on Langata Road, but there seems to be some small traffic this morning between 1824 and Western Hotel. I don't know what's going on there. There seems to be some little traffic around there. Looking at Mbagathi Way looks clean. Nothing to worry about on Mbagathi Way. Formerly Mbagathi Way, now it's called Raila Odinga Way. I think many Kenyans have not adapted to the new name. They still call it Mbagathi Way. Looking in at Ngong Road, looking all clean. There's some little traffic from Gonglis Hotel towards Coptic Hospital. I think that is the turn that has been put around there. Agwins Kodak looks all clean. Nothing to worry about this morning. Valley Road looks all clean inbound into town. Nothing to worry about. Uruai Way looks all clean as well. Thika Road kama kawaida kuna ka traffic kuanzia pale KCA University heading towards the Muthaiga overpass. Kiambu Road looks a bit crazy from Muthaiga Club going down. It's a bit crazy, but nothing really major to worry about. Limuru Road, this morning at Parklands, there seems to be some snarl-ups there. So if you can avoid Limuru Road and use the other side of the road, better for you. Waiyaki Way looks all clean. Nothing to worry about as well. If you're coming in from Kiambu Road and you want to avoid traffic, you can use the Red Hill route, taking the Waiyaki Way, getting to Kileleshu or Kilimani Riverside, whatever it is, and get into CBD. Kingara Road, looking at Kilimani area, nothing to worry about. Akunskotek looks all clean. Tok Road looks like Kithanga Road. There's some little traffic on Kithanga Road towards Valley Arcade. All the way coming in from the Kingara Road junction towards Valley Arcade, there's some traffic as well. So you can avoid. Nevasha Road looks a bit crazy as well this morning. So if you can avoid it, the better for you. But Lavington area looks clean, heading towards Waiyaki, the James Kishuru, and Waiyaki Way by extension looks a bit clean. So nothing to worry about as well. Let me know how this traffic situation is looking like on your roads. Mheshimiwa Justina.
Yes, Gerald.
Good morning.
Morning.
Amesema utuombee maombi ya kirasta kwa.
Sasa hiyo ni noma, lakini ile umeomba tutaomba ya kumaliza.
Kwani Mungu ana maombi ya kirasta?
Huko tulikuwa tunasema tu Mungu anatujua na tunasonga nayo.
Kwa na wako.
Yes.
It's good to see you this morning.
I am happy. Lakini unajua umenibatiza jina. Umeniita Justina sio kau.
Jesus Christ.
Lakini huyo alikuwa curtain raiser. Ndio sasa Justina Wamae akakuja.
Justina Wamae.
Yes.
Kumbe nimekushikisha na ule mama Mungu akona mipango mema mwaka mpya.
Huyo alikuwa curtain raiser huyo.
But good to see you.
Happy
Justina Wamae. So, for avoidance of doubt, correction, Justina Wamae. Mheshimiwa Justina Wamae. Nimesema ni deputy president wa Roots Party, lakini nasikia ulishuka. Utatuambia ulishuka meli ama bado uko kwenye meli. All right, maybe I give you an opportunity to introduce yourself faster.
Yes, thank you for having me here, Gerald. Mimi ni fan mkubwa sana wako.
Asante sana.
Kwa hivyo ni maombi nimefika hapa. So kwa majina ni Justina Wamae, former running mate wa Roots Party. And I ran in 2017 in Mavoko. After elections nikarudi kwa biashara na kulea familia. Si tunakuanga pale Eastern Bypass, watu wa jua kali. Excavation na supply of building materials. Na biashara ni ngumu, Gerald. Watu wanaumia na Wakenya hawana pesa. So mimi ombi langu, whoever comes into government should ensure that Kenyans are more comfortable. Wakenya wanaumia sana. So tuko hapa, tunangoja Monday Supreme Court iseme wanataka aje na Wakenya.
Wewe unataka aje na Wakenya?
Mimi natakia Wakenya maisha yenye taxes haziko juu. Na hii deni lipwe. Na pia government ikue creative in looking for funding. Hata ile mswada, unajua tulikuwa na mswada ya legalize na regulate.
Yes.
You remember the person who had started it was Gwada Ogot in 2017. And then the late Ken Okoth wanted it for medicinal value. So if whoever comes into power, na mimi naomba wa Kenya, lobby your MP, your MCA, your governor, because this should be a national conversation. Venye tunaweza jitoa nasua kutoka mtego wa madeni na high taxes. Lobby for legalization and regulation of marijuana. We can even honor the late Ken Okoth na hii mswada. So mimi naambia wa Kenya tuangalie mbele. All is not lost.
Okay, all is not lost.
But tuendelee kuwa peaceful.
So you've said, before even you got to the agendas that you had and the manifesto that you've almost touched on, you said that former. How do you mean former? What happened?
I'm saying former because, you know, it's good to be honest as a leader. I feel the election was free, fair and transparent. And I was a running mate for an election, 2022 election. In my opinion, imeisha. That is where I'm former. Until anything else comes up, election iliisha.
So that's why you're former. So we don't have a contest anymore.
Yes.
But again, going back to the Roots Party, are you still a member of Roots Party?
I'm still a member. And but yesterday I saw a newspaper, there was something that was written.
Yes. So you're not a member anymore.
Okay, I'm a member because I've not resigned according to them. Yes. I'm still waiting for the dismissal letter. Do you know, Gerald, in our country, we are not yet at a point where people accept resignation. Look at Martha Karua. She was told she left Kibaki. She had her own personal reasons and she said it was on principle. When Polycarp Igathe also resigned as deputy governor, he was blamed that he left Governor Sonko. And I understand Kenyans. Gerald, our life is a struggle in this country. Traffic, looking for money, everything we struggle. So when you resign, people don't understand you as a Kenyan. So what I said is that because my disagreement was on principle, And because my party leader has insisted that he owns the party, then I let him do what he wishes. Actually, even yesterday's notification was what we said on Friday. He was trying to just frustrate me so that I can resign and he can install someone else. So for me, I won't resign until he throws me out.
Okay. You're not resigning until he throws you out.
Yeah.
So what was the basis of your disagreement, since you've rightly mentioned that you disagreed? So what did you disagree on, and why is there a conflict of you being a member, not being a member? And like the other time when we could see you guys wearing Jamaican uniform, like when Ruta used and Uhuru used to wear shirts and red ties, you could be visiting places, going to clubs and all that. The chemistry looks good. So what's the source of conflict now?
Our conflict emanated from principle. You remember I told Kenyans that I applied for that position because they had advertised, and I went for an interview. And during the interview, there's a question you always asked. Do you have any other question or a comment? At that time of the interview, we were 55 aspirants who were looking to be president. You remember 55. That list was very long. Yes. And I asked them, the secretariat, what is the end game? I was told is to popularize the party and popularize party ideology. At no point were we told that we are going to be supporting another candidate. So for me, I stuck to the script, but my party leader 3 times continued discussing about the Azimio presidential candidate. And he would say something on and you'd see it on media, then he would deny. So many a times the constituency I represent, women and youth, would ask me, why are you quiet? So I told him, that is the day I told him, I feel I need to speak because you have given your statement as an individual. The party has spoken, but Justina has not. So I need to give my take. So that was the point we had conflict. But for me, it was on matters principle. We cannot be on the same race and then I'm discussing my competitor because we had already been branded a project. You remember even when the president-elect, during his manifesto launch, he said that someone was parachuted at KICC. So those were the things that made us lose focus because we came off as a project. So for me, I told him, I'm not seeing like we're taking the right direction. So that was a source of conflict. Another source of conflict was about the election. He congratulated the president-elect. Our agent, chief agent, Yagnik Ramji, signed off Form 34C. And actually, if you see the notice, Yagnik Ramji is the one who is poised to replace me as deputy party leader. That means that him going to court was not, in my opinion, right, because we had accepted by conduct. And Ramji is his friend, Yagnik is his friend. They are close. So by Yagnik signing off, he was not under any duress. So even yesterday when he went to court, for me, okay, let me not comment about that. Because
you have to comment about it.
Because we were told he was given feedback. Because one, he didn't send in an application, he didn't send in a petition. So that is why I'm calling on leaders. Can you be transparent to Kenyans? Kenyans are moving on in terms of democracy. Can we grow and move away from siasa ya sarakasi and clout chasing? Politics is strategy. Strategy from the point you start to the point you complete. So if you do not have a clear path, then you lose it. Yes.
All right. So how would you describe your party leader in very few words?
Maybe it would be unfair of me to describe him,
given the circumstances. Because there's a leader that Kenyans were hoping. Kenyans voted for him. They have numbers of Kenyans who voted for him. And you know him better, or you know the cause that you guys were pushing better. You said you're branded as a project. You know better whether you're a project or not. You said he has been seen to be very inconsistent in his vision and pursuit of the presidency. The closest person who can know is you, who are sharing a ticket. So you can speak better about him without any accusation of malice. I might be malicious myself because I don't know him. So if I say anything about him, it would be out of malice or out of ignorance. You shared a ticket. You know what he stood for. You know what happened in between. Then what would be your description of your party leader?
At the risk of sounding like I want to be seen good in his eyes. It's good to say positive things about people. I won't say the negative because no one is perfect. But the positive is that he has good intentions in his heart. Genuinely, he has good intentions in his heart. Towards Kenyans, he wants the best for Kenyans. Yes.
Kama Yesu anasema anaona roho. Angalia roho, so tuangalie roho ya Wajakoya.
Akona intention.
Tusione matendo.
Akona intention.
Na matendo yanashikana na intention. Ati? Then matendos tally with intentions.
Ndio wanasemanga ati there is faith without action
is dead. So do they tally?
Pardon?
do they tally? Because you have a problem with you say he has the best intentions. Does that mean then that you are in conflict because he doesn't have the best intentions, or you don't have the best intentions?
What I think is execution. And then there are so many forces that come into play in politics. One, you might not be having money, and then you're given money, you change your vision. You see, so many forces. Your intentions could be great, but the forces, the external forces that are compelling you are many. So for me, when I read, and there's something he remembers I told him, we are being branded a project. Itumbi has said that there was money exchanging hands. Kuria has spoken. That means two things. Azimio and Kenya Kwanza are the old boys on the block. We are the new boys on the block. That means that these old boys will do anything to remove us from the scene. So can we just be neutral? And that was what I was fighting for. Let us avoid being linked to any of them. Let us be neutral. That is why maybe we saw it different eyes. Yes.
Were you projects?
When I went,
and then a single point, were you guys projects?
When I went there, the vision was very clear, the intention was clear. But as time went by, the details are in the public domain. You can even see yesterday he wanted to be enjoined in whose side of the petition. So I think the public can judge. Though, however, I'm seeing very many people attacking me. I don't know why on social media. But I understand that's a Kenyan way. Do you know, Gerald? Kuna watu tafuta ubabe. When uko na ubabe kwa hii industry. Others ubabe wao ni kutukana na social media. So those people, you just ignore them because they have no impact. So you let people say what they want. That is democracy.
In democracy. Yes. You've not answered me yet. Were you guys a project?
I think the question should
I cannot allow you to leave that to the public because you sold this ticket. We saw you at Catholic University coming in as a deputy president, having a conversation with Kenyans. So you cannot tell us we leave it to the public. Why are you a project or you are not? Was that ticket a project?
I can say I was not a project, but he can say his end. But one thing I can say, and let me be honest, do you know he didn't want me to go for that debate. Those were part of the things where he's saying I'm not supporting the party ticket. But for me, I looked at it like this. I am a running mate. And again, I need to answer Kenyans. Kenyans are saying that I was given limelight. True, but I went for an interview, I passed. So there was no limelight I was given. They picked the right candidate. If there was someone better than me, they would have picked the right candidate. Okay. So I wasn't given limelight. I fought for that limelight. Number two, when you're given a position, don't start looking for other things to. You just focus on what you're supposed to do. So was I a project? No. Was he a project? It's the public, for the public to judge, because everything is done is in the public domain. It's on record. But one thing I can say, I cannot betray the trust of Kenyans. At that time, before everything, you saw even Kenyans used to print his T-shirts with his name. But the moment you are branded a project, Kenyans lost faith in us. Kenyans started attacking us right, left, and center. And because I'm only 35 years, the Bible says you can only reach 70 years. I did not want a burden of 35 years trying to sanitize my name that I betrayed the trust of Kenyans. So for me, I wasn't a project. He can be judged from what is in the public domain, what he's been saying. Yes. All right.
And I'm also giving him, he's a good friend of mine. I've known him for several years. So I want to give him a challenge of coming in to tell us whether he was or, because we're still in a process, whether he's a project and what exactly he wanted to achieve with his ticket. But now, let's get back to the issues of running mates and all that. There's been a serious conflict in terms of running mates and deputy presidents and all that. We are having a government that fell out. The presidency fell out. The president and his deputy, somehow walisambaratika. Ni pepo gani inakuanga hapo katikati? What is the role of a running mate? What's the role of a deputy president, in essence?
Let me first congratulate the 7 women governors who we have, and most of them have male running mates. I'm really hoping they're going to treat them right. I'm really hoping when they're consolidating the voice of women and youth, when they're amplifying the voices of women and youth, they'll consolidate the voices of the men. Wasiwakalie sana, wasiwakataze kuongea, wasiwaambie wana outshine master. So that is my take home for those women. But I think what comes into play, Gerald, ni our politics of top up. There's this top up requirement that 2/3 gender rule, that you just need to take another gender. Sadly, when women are taken there, they are seen as you're either a girlfriend to the party leader, another 2 women don't have money, financial muscle. So you're being seen like you're a flower girl. That is why you're there. So what happens is that when you try to give your voice, we've seen Carol Kirago, the former deputy governor of Nyeri. You're trying to give your voice. Someone put you there because they believed you can work. And then they come in and start showing you. When you give your opinions, you're told you're shining the master. Nadhani pepo inakujanga when your voice is stifled. And that is why I think it's important when you're a leader, please be open to other voices. I've seen, why didn't Biden fight Obama? I'm sure Biden had to give his own opinion, you see? Even Kamala Harris as a woman, she's sharing her opinions. So in Africa, let's avoid this strong arm mentality that it is me, I was the ticket. Please listen to this other person. Because the most important thing is serving Kenyans. Ukishajitoa ati unasimama kwa kiti, isi ati ukuonekana unajitoa, it is serving the interests of Kenyans. Yes.
Okay, all right. So you are allowed to disagree?
Kwanza on principle, it is there. Hata, hata
watu wanasema ati William has betrayed the boss, kataa shokao nani Wamae hapa. Wamae has defied the boss. The deputy president, the running mate should be humble, anafaa fuatilia asikosana na boss. Are we allowed to say
kwanza yangu unaona namba ati need to submit. Mimi nauliza Bible inasema submit to your husband. Mimi ilikuwa kazi. Unaona, I need to clarify. But let me ask a question. Ndio Theresa May resign a prime minister is because conservatives voted hiyo story ya Britex. Alienda kakosana nao personally. It was an issue of principle. Unaona, the moment Kenyans, our democracy grows, that kuko na personality na principle, ndio muta move on. And I also need to ask Kenyans a question. Accident ikifanyika na watu wanauliza nini imefanyika? Huyo dereva alikuwa anaendesha vibaya. Kenyans ask. Si ungeongea kabla ajali ifanyike.
Ungeongea useme dereva anataka kutua.
Haya, ama ule bibi anapigangwa kwa nyumba akikufa transmati. Aki alikuwa anapigwa. Mbona hamkuongea? That is why we have initiatives like Zua, Zuka, Zusha, usikimie, But when in politics, we are double standards as a country. Mnataka tuongee lakini politics mnataka umama nyamaze. Are you being honest? Apana. Kenyans tuache kukua hypocritical.
Now, let's get down to the agendas that you had as Roots Party, of course, when you're running for your ticket. One of the biggest of them was, of course, bangi. You said that you legalized bangi for several reasons that you brought in. Then another one came in between. About VCs. And most men were worried because they were not clear which VC you're talking about. Ni VC ya musturi ama ni VC ya wanaume. But then again, it posed a very serious question in terms of the sensitivity of leadership. Because when you speak about endangering the lives of maybe animals, I mean, the biggest conversation in the world right now is 2 things: global conservation and climate and all that.
Yes.
And another one is conservation. Conservation of natural resources, conservation of animals and all that. We're having a global economy that's moving away from even animal tests on cosmetics and all that. So we need to safeguard the rights of animals. Now, there was a contest of that. Also, we are on bangi. You're coming from a background of a society that has been opposed, even cites it as an illegal drug. What was the agenda? What was the exact? I might not be the best to outline the agenda of the Roots Party, but you are best. What was the real agenda of Roots Party? What did it want to achieve with Kenyans?
And I'll comment as a reasonable Kenyan on a bus, because you remember I was told not to be commenting on the party. Did you see the letter? So I'll give the reasonable, I'll be as a reasonable Kenyan. Number one, when I went to the party, it was to legalize and regulate marijuana. But anyone who saw me during the manifesto launch, when parts of hyena were mentioned, I covered my face. Because one, I didn't see it coming. I did not know he was going to talk about it. So I was very embarrassed. But when I looked back at, it's good to go and research. When someone says something, it's good to read about it. When you look at Limuru people in Roroma village are affected by hyenas. Hyenas come to their house, to their homesteads, attack the animals, goats. They are losing so much on that. In Kisumu also there's a forest that hyena are living and coming to the homesteads. What I made out of this was that in South Africa, they had so many elephants. Either the elephants were killing themselves, fighting amongst themselves for survival, or they would go into people's homesteads and they're killed. Okay. So South Africans took up a project, a program called culling process. culling process is whereby you eliminate the weak ones. The weak ones are the ones that cannot fight in kwa msituni. They're the ones that are coming to the homesteads. So to control numbers, they let the strong ones stay in the msituni. Then these other weak ones that were coming off to the people were taken out. They were culled out. Culling them out, they said, instead of them killing themselves or they are killed and they won't be of any economic value, they'll take the tusks and sell them so that it can come back as foreign exchange to the country. So in Kenya, our hyenas are really a nuisance if you talk to people on the ground. They're eating your goods. And one day even they can find a baby in a homestead and attack that child. And the ones that are coming into the homesteads are not the strong ones. They are so weak they can't fight these others. They're looking for the weakest link, which is the human, hence the conflict. So if you cull them out, their markets, Morocco, Somalia, Saudi Arabia, consume the meat. And then China use their bones and those parts that were mentioned during the manifesto for traditional purposes, traditional medicine.
I'm a Google.
Google culling and even hizo zote utaona.
No, the use of these parts for visit.
Angalia, ziko. So, for me actually, to be very honest, my burden as a running mate, go back to the role, was to really justify everything that was said because I had to go into research. So hiyo ndio ilikuwa, I ended up coming up with that information because it had already come into the public and I used to be asked. Now, about legalization and regulation. Guado got in 2017, brought this conversation because he was saying most of we can revive industrialization and manufacturing in this country by using marijuana or a species of it called industrial hemp. And then Ken Okoth wanted it for medicinal purposes. Then here was a political party that was also amplifying the same. So for me, that is where the interest came in and I applied for this position. Ingawaje I asked my husband who was in diaspora, how does it work, Nini? So I got further convinced. So marijuana was a good idea and it's still a good idea. And that is why many Kenyans are telling me, sasa tusha clear shamba, what are we going to do? What you're going to do is engage your MP, your senator, to lobby for this bill, any bill that whatever is in Bunge for legalization and regulation of marijuana. Actually, there's a bill in Bunge that is waiting for them to discuss it. Lobby for it so that we can make use of it. But the most important thing for me is youth empowerment and women empowerment. Gerald ukiangalia youth who do not want employment, they lack capital for investment. Ukienda bank title deed, ama unaitishwa logbook, which you don't have. So government has 14 million in acres, which is idle. For me, I would think if every county wants to uplift the youth, if national government allocates 200,000 acres per county to the youth program, in every semester, every term, every cycle, a youth anapanda hiyo bangi, industrial hemp, they take home proceeds. So that uyu youth, of course, they are mentored into how to use the money, how to go into business. Uyu youth ataweza kujisimamia. So for me, the idea was so good. The idea would bring money in terms of foreign exchange. The idea would empower Kenyan women who in Kenya, we have a challenge. Actually, we are number 3 in terms of children, teenage pregnancy. And I can attribute that to lack of finances from the women part. As a mother, if my daughter comes to ask me for secondary needs, I only have money for basics. She'll go out there, exchange sexual favors for something, and she ends up pregnant. Women, the same in politics. You're either someone's girlfriend or in someone's, if in at point of work, you're not promoted, you know someone, you are forced to do other things that you did not want to. But if women were financially empowered, then I feel this country would go forward. So for me, those are the things that are close to my heart. And I believe the agenda was well thought out. It was amplified by Roots Party, yes. But other people had been pushing. We can even honor Ken Okoth, the late. Because why not? Other countries are doing it. We can do it. Yes. Okay. And the people, in other conversations, I've heard you guys speaking about the difference between the bangi that we consume.
Okay, I almost say that we smoke. The people smoke.
Yes, people smoke.
Or smoke, or that you get arrested when and when you talk about industrial hemp and industrial bangi. What's the difference within these two? Because we could be mistaken. I saw a gentleman who was arrested in Eldoret. He had a greenhouse inside his house of bangi and all that. And somebody was saying, no, this is not the bangi I'm talking about. Is there a different bangis that one should be legal and one should not be? What were you looking at exactly?
And by then, that person, we did not influence him. I remember people blaming us. Bangi takes 4 months to grow. So hiyo yake ilikuwa kubwa. Hiyo yake alianza kitambo. That is a clarification. The bangi we were advocating for. Bangi has 2 species. One is called THC. THC has the psychoactive ingredient. When you smoke it, you get high. But CBD has industrial hemp. So you cannot get high because it lacks the THC component. So here, bangi, the difference in growth is that THC or cannabis sativa has very small leaves, but CBD has very large leaves. Unaona? So even if someone would pick it and chew the leaves, they wouldn't get high. And the purpose of the leaves being big is because we wanted fiber out of them. So our idea was that anyone who would grow cannabis sativa, the one that is smoked, or the one that DCI is always arresting people, we were going to arrest them because it's not fair. We know women and children we know women who are suffering because of their children. But CBD doesn't have the ulevi in it. So ingetusaidia hata kurevive economies like Rivertex. Pan paper was locked up because logging was named illegal. And when we were in school, Gerald, you remember, we used to be told, where is paper produced? Yes. In Webuye. You cut trees and make paper. You remember that is what we used to be told. Yes. But we are told we have to protect the environment, so don't cut down trees. We can use industrial hemp to make our own papers. So we can revive economies. And that is why I'm telling Kenyans, this is a conversation that you shouldn't let go. Let's start pushing for legalization and regulation of even industrial hemp. Forget about marijuana, what you call industrial hemp. So that economies can be revived. Textile, build Kenya, make Kenya.
Okay. On the issues of the elephants being culled, Clifford Omayo says, my boss who is British told me about the elephant saga in South Africa. Later it was found out that it was a scandal for trophy hunting.
Oh, in South Africa?
Yes.
Good to know. But it was happening, right? I think execution, the intentions were good, but the execution was wrong.
Jomba, point of information, it was David Cameron that resigned from Brexit vote. Theresa May came in during the transition and then she left for Boris. Okay.
Thank you.
Nancy says, Pepo ni wana DP is matter. Well, it's frustrating. Low IQ and bid self-esteem, even in formal workplaces, very low. Okay. I'm trying to find a question I can ask here. There's a question I'd seen here. Question I'd seen somewhere here. Okay. Ask her, where do we export marijuana? Countries like Canada, the legalized marijuana and consumption have banned importation of marijuana.
Okay, what I was saying, Canada use it for medicinal value. For me, because actually it's good, and I love Kenyans love this conversation. Kenyans wamekuwa kitukosoa, they're like, your party's leader said China, and China says it's illegal. What I was telling Kenyans, how about reviving our own economies? If it's Webuye, the pan papers, we make our own plastic, we make our own food stuff, that is flour and cooking oil, we make our own clothes, we make our own building materials like the bricks from marijuana. We make our own carpets, our own headlights, our own lubricants, our own furniture from industrial hemp. First, if we can be able to satisfy the demand in this country instead of importing things from China, which end up being burnt up because of lack of quality. So watu wanyama kema waliumia. Hiyo pesa badala wanatumia kwenda kuleta vitu. We can make our own things here so that we can create employment, consume our own produce. Our surplus we can sell outside there. So for now, can we focus on our own local economies? Yes.
Okay. All right. Let me check what's happening on YouTube. Kevin Langat, Kenneth, great man of all time, tune in Kericho Santa. Kevin Kiaria, good morning, GB. Salimia Mugeni. Santa Rivda Kero, good morning, Gerald. Enjoy the Miguna interview last night, Viva. Murimi Karani, ask Justina if she can form her own party. Where our constituents will support her. We, our constituents, will support her. Can you form your party?
That's something I'm grappling with because Kenya, we have 89 political parties and our democracy is only 60 years. The others, we have they're over 200 years, the conservatives. How have they survived? But it's a discussion that I'm open to. Tutaangalia uko mbele moving forward.
Hi, Atticus now. Good morning, Gerald. Thank you for hosting Miguna yesterday. Another spectacular broadcast. Thank you so much. Na kama kila mtu angekuwa kama Atticus now, tungekuwa tumejenga TV. I'm seeing Atticus has already done 1.49 euros already He sent in 1.5 euros on his sticker. So if you wish as well to support the broadcast, you can click on the sticker, the dollar sticker, just below the comment section, and you can make your contribution. Okay. Itegi Ituria, good morning, Honorable We Talk, and the entire Tackle family. Itegi wa Ituria. Good morning, Walter. Butali Will. Morning We Talk. This lady is so brilliant. Please tell President-elect to reserve for her one docket. Okay. The non-joker, good, blessful morning to you, Gerald. Betok Justina Wamae, ARNOLD MALIBA, and God bless you. Thank you. Martin Mwaura, what happened? You forgot to upload on Spotify. I think it should be up already. Please check. Man, can she form her own party? I think that has already been asked. I hope Arnold Afika still. Arnold, I don't know where Arnold is. He's not communicating, so I don't know where he's stuck in. But now, you've said your boss made a wrong move and he switched sides and went to Azimio. You've said that given an opportunity, you would also make a decision. I don't know which decision it is that you'll make. Have you made a decision already on who to support?
What I've said is that the information is in the public domain for Kenyans to judge. I did not say he made a wrong move. The information is there.
Okay, he made a move. Okay.
Yes,
it might not be
and
wrong,
it's in the public domain.
Yes, it's in the public where he has gone.
Have I made a decision?
Yes.
Number one, the election is over. So time has forced me. Hata kama I want to make a decision, time has forced me.
Make a decision.
Yes, because election imeisha, in my opinion. Number two, 2017 I ran for Mavoko. 2018 I applied for public service, for PS position when PSC advertised. So whoever gets into power, ata koti seme venye itasema, they'll be required by law in 21 days after swearing to send out application for CS and PS positions. Okay. I will send in my application, Gerald, because I love public service. And the only place you can serve is in public service is either executive, legislature, or judiciary, though I'm not a lawyer. So that is the decision I can make because time has forced me to make a decision. Okay. Election imeisha.
That's a lot of parables. So where are you now? As we speak, forget about how many days after swearing. Now, tukiwa sahi, Justina Wamae, where are you?
I'm hanging around like all Kenyans waiting for what the Supreme Court will say.
So you've not made a decision yet?
I'm waiting. Unajua politics is about timing. So I'm just there waiting.
Watching and waiting.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. We had an electoral process that happened. Yes. You were part of it. Before we even go to the Supreme Court saga, what was your confidence in that electoral process out of 10?
I was very confident in IEBC. Remember, they were blamed in 2013. They were blamed in 2017. So I felt that hata kama umekosolewa mara mbili, the third time you have to get it right. And then from the way they were sending communications, they were engaging us, they wanted us to have often meetings, they would update us in every step. For me, I felt that was confidence. It was confidence enough in the institution of IEBC. Yes.
So you're confident in the process?
Yes.
You've been paying attention you're paying attention to the process that is happening at the court, at the Supreme Court. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts are it's a very good thing that the petitioner has gone to court as opposed to telling Kenyans to fight. So that is a very good thing. Number two, IEBC is saving. If I was the IEBC CEO, the chair, I'd see it as a cost-saving measure in terms of monitoring and evaluation. If your processes, your systems, your procedures are being put into scrutiny, then clearly that is monitoring and evaluation for you. Yes. So I believe being in court in 2013, 2017, they already upped their game. And that is why you saw like the Form 34As had access. In fact, I'm hoping next time, 2027, they'll have a public portal for even governor election, women rep. Because my thoughts are probably Form 34A was put through public scrutiny. Yes. What if the election was stolen through the other elections? The governor, Form 37A, So if all of them will be on the public portal, it will be easier for Kenyans to see, find there's no discrepancy. But I enjoy, it's good they have gone to court. Because so that when one is told he won very genuinely, and if you lost genuinely, and even supporters will accept. But one thing I'm praying is that whoever comes in will know now we have moved from campaigns, we are moving towards building a country and driving this country forward, irrespective of who voted for you or not. It is about galvanizing the whole country, consolidating Kenyans and moving forward. Sababu mashida ni mingi. Haijalishi if I voted for Roots or not. we are all facing the same challenge. Yes.
Kenya tabu ni moja. Kinyesha inatunyesha wote.
Kabisa.
Okay. It's a leaking roof. Now, there's a question here that's coming in. Morning, Gerald. Please ask Justina a position on climate change, clean energy, and recycling of electronic and industrial waste in line with the Sustainable Development Goals. If we don't do something about environmental management, we won't even have a world to fight over in a century. 2, the EACC had proposed introduction of integrity classes in our intermediate schools. Does she feel the value of that in rooting out graft from the core of our society?
I think it's a good thing, especially hiyo ya wachana na climate, hiyo ndaongea number 2. Hiyo ya EACC, because when I was young, we used to sing the national anthem and recite the loyalty pledge. There is a way someone would feel as a child, you're proud to be Kenyan. And then there was this song by Maroon Commandos, ati amka kumekucha. When you wash all radios, you'd feel there's your own duty.
Wewe mwanangu,
your duty as a Kenyan, you felt patriotic. And then Mwalimu Wasonga's songs used to be sung most of the time. So what they're doing is a very good thing, because children grow from a perspective of, no, I need to do things the right way. I need to have integrity in everything I do. So that is a welcome idea. And let us support it as Kenyans, because children right now know that to be rich in this Kenya, you just need a deal. You see, when children telling you, give me money, you're sending a kid, nilipe. You know, so they see there, you pay around, you bribe around. So I'm thinking it's going to be a good thing, but you also need to change ideas. About climate change, I agree. And that is why I'm so happy that there was the logging law that came in. Even if we wanted paper, we had to protect our environment. But also the global warming. The cars we are using, are they clean? Is the footprint clean? So that is the conversation also as government that comes in, should look into it. Because I'm telling you, in the next 50 years, Nairobi will be inhabitable. People won't be able to live here. There is so much raw waste that is being thrown in terms of sewerage. Most places, including Syokimau, Utawala, do not have a sewer system. They have septic tanks. So how are we even disposing of our sewerage and our izo uchafu? So that is a conversation that should be very important to government. But I understand why government is failing on this. If you're saying you're going to build a sewer system, it's very costly. You see? Do we have the money? Most of our money in this country is used in terms of recurrent expenditure, paying salaries. So actually, we need to be creative. When I say we need to be creative as government, that comes in to source for funding, because we cannot tax further a Kenyan. A Kenyan has been overtaxed. So we need to get even more Kenyans in the workforce who are working, more businesses in investment, so that we can widen the tax base. Hiyo itatusaidia hata pesa ya kutengeneza sewerage system.
All right. Kabla tufungue bunga la mwenye nchi, there has been a bigger struggle that these elections have struggled with. And it has been the voter turnout, especially young people. There's been some serious level of lethargy in terms of coming out to vote. When you look at the voter turnout as outlined by IEBC, under 65%. And we are talking about a voter population that's majorly young people. It's not like they don't have the energy to go out and vote. And I mean, when you also look at even after the elections, I mean, comparing to 2017, where there seemed to have been a lot of energy around the election period, the campaign period and all that, this time it seems like nobody's bothered. Even when you talk about Kimeibiwa and all that, nobody is available to go to the streets. Now, but the biggest concern is voting or elections is a civic duty. It's a process where citizens make a decision on how they want to be governed. But it looks like over time, and even maybe in the next 5 or 10 years, there will be nobody to vote if this trend continues. What do you think informs this?
I begin from the process of voter registration. We were told that they didn't reach the mark they wanted. My proposal would be, as long as you're 18 years after Form 4, when you're going to be given an ID, can they give you 3 documents? An ID, KRA PIN, and a voter's card. So that IEBC will not have the challenge of always saying, oh, there was low voter registration turnout. But this goes also to the government that comes into place. 8 million Kenyans did not vote. That shows that Kenyans are so disappointed in leadership. They are saying, let me just live my life. Kuende venye kutaenda. In terms of unemployment, in terms of cost of living. Kenyans are so bitter right now that CDF fund had been scraped off. The MPs are saying that is a discussion. They want to bring it back. Even they are saying that SRC will be thrown out because of their allowances. So for a Kenyan who is a reasonable Kenyan in a bus, that Kenyan is saying, are these people really caring about us? They're insulating themselves by getting more money. But it is not their money. Can it be clear? It is taxpayers' money. So it has to be used prudently. So the moment Kenyans are feeling so, they have resigned to the fate and they're saying they don't care. So the government that comes into place must show Kenyans, one, we respect your taxes. That is the money we are using. So corruption must be fought. Number two, the voice of the Kenyan must be heard. But Kenyans also, can you try to attend those public participation things in the county, you know, those meetings? Yes, but again, Kenyans are saying, where are we going? And it has already been predetermined. So I think government needs to bring in the confidence in institutions. Gerald, look at the Public Service Commission's Facebook website. The moment they advertise a position, Kenyans say, you just go and get whoever you want. Tunajua hii ni kujuana, this is just formality. So I want Kenyans to be confident in their own institutions, and that is something that will take this country forward.
Okay. All right. What are the effects then of Kenyans refusing to come out and vote, especially young people? What are the consequences? What do you think would be the price to pay for that?
One thing I know, you as a youth, the more you're in school ignoring voting, your voice will never be heard. You will graduate, you'll go back to your parents' house, and you'll always be in conflict that you're not looking for a job. I've been there. I know how it feels to be unemployed. Another consequence is that people will do what they want with your public money, your taxes, and you will not have a voice. And one thing I know, Kenyans, we have this attitude of being slay queens. So if it's a revolution, that one we can't do. So your vote is your only voice. Please come out and vote. But I said they must register you 3 documents: your ID, your voter's card, and your KRA PIN, so that you feel when in Kenya kamili.
Now, in a situation where the elections are nullified or not nullified, is Roots Party, okay, you said you cannot speak for Roots Party anymore.
Yeah, because nitatiwa mbaroni. Tatiwa mbaroni. But Arnold is here. I know atakuja kunitoa ndani.
Arnold, today these days you have become a terrible character.
What have I done?
What time is it now?
You know, 1, there was jam. 2, your security people out here were complaining that there is no parking that is sufficient. So
you tell them I've sent you.
Sasa unajua wamekataa kusikiza. Nimesema nimetumwa hapa na Bitok. Anasema huyo Bitok amemaliza parking zake. Apparently we've got a lot of cars around here, so
I don't know what's going on around. Anyway, good morning.
Morning to you.
Yeah, what?
Yes, I'm fine.
You just joined us. Maybe you can pick Friday. Yeah, were you listening?
Yes.
Do you have a place you can pick up from?
No, she was talking about youth. Of course, for most of my adult life, actually, I've worked for and with young people. You know, that is one thing. For all I'm known for, people forget that particular part. I regard myself as a youth worker most times. Even in Somalia, when I go, I actually work for young people. Yeah, so I think in this particular election, a little bit of data, there was a little bit of a shift because for the first time in 15 years, we had the people who are aged 35 years and above constituting the biggest number of the registered voters. There was a shift. So there's about 4 million young people who didn't register as voters. They are out there somewhere tweeting on Facebook and all Instagramming and TikToking, and also complaining and making comments, very strong comments about the Supreme Court, CCTV footages and affidavits, but they didn't vote. They didn't actually register as voters. We have got about 4 million people in this particular republic who are not registered as voters, and most of them are young people. So I think for the first time when the data finally comes out, the post-election report comes out from IEBC, you will realize already from the data that we had after when we were going to elections, people aged 35 and above were the biggest, or rather the biggest group, or rather chunk of registered voters. In 2017, 51%, 52% of registered voters were 35, between 18 and 35. In 2013, they were 49%. So there's been an increase, except in this particular year where there was a drop. So it could be a factor of very many things. Number one, of course, we are getting into what you call the youth bulge proper. That now, for a lot of millennials, they are now coming of age, and they are no longer the young people of this country. You know, it's always important. You know, millennials for the longest time have been the new kid on the block. They forget that behind them is Generation Z. The Gen Zers are actually now almost at par in population with millennials. The only challenge is that a lot of Generation Zers are not yet of the age of majority. But we've got about 3 to 4 million of them who now are properly citizens, as in they are 18 and above. But they constitute 32% of the population, just like millennials, who are also 32% of the population. So we're doing good. And behind the Generation Z, of course, there's the Alpha generation. Yeah. Millennials need to actually wake up and realize that they are no longer the young children, or rather the young people of this country, but the people of this country. I always make this joke that when we were in Sunday school, they spoke about the children of Israel fought the Anakites, they fought the Amalekites, they crossed the Red Sea. And then, of course, out of cheekiness of being young, we will ask, where were the adults? As in, so, for the millennials, you are no longer the children of Kenya, you actually are the people, because now a majority of them have come of age. The city of Nairobi is actually in the hands of a millennial. The Murkomens of this world are actually millennials proper. So those are actually the tip of that particular generational cohort, and I think we are now proper. This particular generation, as in going forward now, Kenya 6.0 and partly Kenya 5.0. Whoever comes in actually must have a number of these people in his government substantively. But then for 6.0, you are the people here. But generally, if you look at the working force, now the management, at the management level, the people who are actually taking over and have already infiltrated those spaces are actually millennials. Yeah.
It's interesting that the millennials, the people who got born in 90s are now 30 years old.
No,
what happened?
42-year-old guys, anyone from 42 up to about 30 is a millennial.
And that is why they're being given character development by Generation Z. Intern anakuja hapo anakuangalia, what are you telling me? And they go and you're like, what?
They come around here and just realize that this bit of a man is
and they
so slow.
This old man.
What's the problem with this old man? So he checks you out, I think, that you really don't make sense. For Generation Z, those creatures born after 1997. From 1997 all the way to 2013. So from 2013 now we have got the Alpha generation. Young guys, those ones are way down there. Sometimes the first language is actually English.
Of course.
For Generation Zers, of course, the challenge is that at any particular time they've got about 5 screens they're focusing on. We've got Facebook, we've got Twitter. Yes. As much as they tell you Facebook ni wazee, but they come there kwa sababu ya biashara. So Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, what's the other one? About 5 of them. They are more global in thinking. They love being part and parcel of their, or rather contributing to solutions to their problems. They're entrepreneuring. Unlike we millennials who are very selfish. For we millennials, it's just about I, myself, and I. As in it's my education, my wife, my children, as in it's my
Subaru.
Yeah, as in we are very selfish, by the way. So the guys behind us, and you have to remember that our generation struggled a lot with facing the world because I think we didn't have a battle of our own. So when we came in, we were asking, tunataka youth fund, tunataka women fund, tunataka hizo vitu zingine zote. And still we could not dispatch, like even in the art sector, we couldn't dispatch the Nigerians and the Tanzanians. But when the Generation Z showed up, you guys were making noise ifikie wazazi, but they were doing their videos, they did their music. Now, today, if you listen to some Tanzanian and Nigerian music, those guys dislodged that music bila youth fund. Hawakuenda kutafuta youth fund, hawakusema serikali saidia na hizo vitu zingine zote. Very entrepreneuring, they know how to come up with
they came up with Gangaton.
They did their own thing, and it wasn't about kutafutiwa msaada. So that particular generation is one generation that will give our generation a run for our money.
Okay.
Because for us, we never had a battle of our own. And the biggest battle we are going to have is paying the national debt. That for us
we have to do.
Is going to be the battle we will face. Unfortunately, it's not one you can go to the streets for. You have to hustle your ass off and pay.
The pockets have to be deep.
Yeah.
Now, we have a procession that's going on right now. We started the Supreme Court pre-trial yesterday. You can help us wrap our minds around this and I'll maybe break it down so that Kenyans can be able to consume it more. Some of the orders that were given yesterday was a recount in 15 polling stations. I don't know what that means for the process, also for the elections as well. There's been some worries of, na mtu akiingiza karatasi zingine ndani, mtu akitoa zingine, mtu akifanya aje. But before you get to that, just take us through the process that happened yesterday. The pre-trial, what exactly is it? What happened there? We talked about the constitution of lawyers. The Kenya Kwanza side were complaining that we only have 4 lawyers against 8. You know, these other guys, they have 8 hours against 3 hours. Just take us through the process of the pre-trial.
Well, ahead of pre-trial, of course, the Supreme Court did some serious housekeeping. When we woke up from 2 a.m., we saw them actually releasing a lot of judgments and directions, so that when the pre-trial came, it was quite orderly, and you realize that it was so long. So imagine if they had not worked through everything, including when you woke up, you remember as early as 3 a.m. yesterday, we had the rulings coming out on the portals, guys, just everything coming out. You know, like you report in the morning, unaambiwa wewe hata siwa kuingia hapa ndani, report yako ndio hiyo unachukulia hapo kwa dirisha ukienda. So there was a little bit of housekeeping, and I call it decluttering, because there was literally every trash that had been brought in. Of course, in Article 140, everyone has got a right to go to court. So there was a lot of petitions, amicus, and everything else. So the housekeeping bit of it, and of course the pre-trial conference was basically for them to, the hearings were to just then set the rules going forward, define the whole thing. They ended up just identifying 9 issues that they are running with. But I don't want to get into the quantitative bit of how that process goes, because then that's substantive of the process. I'll probably just get qualitative and say that you can get the mood of the court already. Did you want to get into petty stuff? You have got your arguments at home, as in that is not what you brought us in here. Like, like the infightings in the commission, for example, IEBC. That was not admitted. Anything that looks like it's noise, anything that looks like ikona feelings, hiyo kufuriana na hizo vitu zingine zote.
But how did you have Githongo's submission there? Githongo's affidavit. Anyway, proceed.
Yeah. So as in, well, it's the affidavit, of course, is enjoined to a petition that has been allowed. So, of course, going forward, a number of these things are going to be dropped. If you realize yesterday, they dropped almost 40% of what had gone to court. Yeah, cleaned and just said, okay, this is what we want to be. And as you feel like the court is saying, you people are engaging us in stuff that we do not want to be part and parcel of. You know, the Supreme Court is not part and parcel of our elections. Yet politicians market the Supreme Court, going to the Supreme Court, as part and parcel of elections, which is not true. The Supreme Court is not part of our elections. But the way it's marketed, you are going to run as you're running as or rather you are a presidential candidate, like Justina here and her partner. Yet you already are thinking of the Supreme Court as if it is a continuous cycle. The Supreme Court is not part and parcel of this particular of elections. But politicians have continuously marketed the Supreme Court as part and parcel of our elections. It's not. And again, you're not going to go to the Supreme Court and get elected. The election ends at the polling station. That is one thing that we cannot run away from. If you did not get it at the polling station, if it never featured in Article 34A, if you cannot impeach Article 34A,
you're done.
You can go up to ICC. It will not help. So it's important to actually tell guys out there, because there are people, there's a section of this country that still feels like they should be, that we are still within the electoral process. We are not in an election. We already did the election. It ended on 9th. And whatever happens, either we uphold what happened there, or we do another election. It will still go back to the polling station. The reference point is still that particular end. So anyone out there, and politicians are so good in marketing the Supreme Court as part and parcel of the elections. Even going to the streets is not part and parcel of the elections. Elections is basic. Registering as a voter, showing up at the polling station, casting your vote, having it counted, having it tallied. That's all. Okay. Any other thing are processes. Election is not about dispute resolution. And by the way, no one gets a lot of help from court. Hata ukinyang'anywa pesa, ukienda kotini, wanaweza kufunga huyu mtu lakini utapata hiyo pesa. So we really need to think about justice and retribution and also buying time. So allegedly that is what, of course, people coming in and complaining, but it also looks like the court has to put its house in order. The Supreme Court is also coming in at a time when there's been too much mudslinging in the country. They don't want to look like they've joined us into, or rather they've joined the rest of us into our mudslinging competition. And whoever throws mud seldom has got clean hands. So you realize they are so harsh on guys, as in when you come in here, hiyo mchezo mnaachia huko nje, si hapa ndani. Hapa msitulete. Everybody, they don't want those games because they've just realized that the political class doesn't know boundaries. Yeah. So there's no hygiene, and the court really wants. But they are holding us kitambo na gloves. They are dealing with guys, nasiet kid gloves. Zile za leather, zile ngumu za kulima nazo. Hawataki mchezo na sisi. They are quite hard, giving direction so that everything moves on. But I think so far, the court has come off well. Not that they are going to survive being aspersions being cast here and there. Of course, they warned people that parties should not go out there and discuss these issues. Because unfortunately with this particular, like I told you, this is not just a case before the Supreme Court, it's also a case before the Court of Public Opinion. Yeah.
Okay. Now, the order that was given on recount of 15 polling stations, what does it pose and how credible will that recount process be? Is there any chances of interference?
Well, the fear that it could be interfered with is real and is, of course, founded on what has actually happened in the past because we've proved that as a people, trust is not one of those things that we hold highly. So we hope and pray that IEBC and all its officials and its officers have actually kept the materials intact. Secondly, the ballot papers actually have got up to 9 features. So IEBC can tell their ballot and which is not their ballot. As in until mpaka kuko na serial number. Okay. And over and above, every polling station did not have more than 700 registered voters. So that particular station, long time ago we used to call them streams, as in whatever you are going to actually count, it will still fall within those parameters. So the checks and balances that we'd put in will still, not that they've changed. Yes. So even if you altered, does it, for example, correspond with the Form 34As, if that is what you're trying to look at? Does it correspond with the registered voters? Then the presidential election was not cast in a vacuum because on that particular day we had people voting for MCA, for MNA, for governor, for women rep, for senator. So there cannot be a variance beyond what already exists. So, and then people were there, people counted, they took results. As in, it's not something that was done actually outside. So beyond recounting, there is so much around that. So whatever happens, I'm not really worried about the recounting because this is not the first time we've done a recounting, whether it's at, as in before, as in guys, even people are going to court, whether they are MPs, MCS, and at any particular time, by the way, you are allowed a recount. Okay. During elections, before the returning officer actually declares, you are allowed to actually request for a recount. It's actually allowed, so I don't think there's going to be anything that like it's out of place. I also hope that the people who were in that particular room at that particular time should be available. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. People have asked, okay, so when people have asked, why these people? Why these places? Why these specific places?
I think those are some of the areas that had been highlighted by the petitioners, that they think that they were not very reflective of what came out, or places where they think they were irregularities and they would therefore want to prove. doing a recount is normally just going back over the numbers again to be so sure that the counting was actually done correctly and that there is nothing that there's no outlier in there, whether it's out of commission or out of omission. So I don't think that the Supreme Court could actually make, from whatever is in court, I think it's a matter of trying to cast doubt that things were not done well. So probably hoping that whatever comes out of the recount could be a basis upon which you pitch a claim or case. But I'm looking at how many places are we recounting again?
15 polling stations.
15. And we've got how many polling stations? 46,299.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So what percentage is 15?
0.
And actually, I think the total votes for those polling stations tally is almost less than 6,000.
No, I'm talking about, even if we were to just look at the polling stations, 46,299.
Oh, okay.
So how then would 15 be a representative sample of the whole? No, it's too small.
So what is it supposed to build on then?
Of course, but when you're in court, you use everything at your disposal to pitch your case. So let's see what then it's supposed to achieve. But I think that it's part and parcel of the process, so that you've made a request, we will allow you. Let's go on there and see how then you prosecute your case from that particular end. Up to yesterday, I think the Supreme Court was truly supreme because they did proper housekeeping, did proper decluttering, did away with things that are petty, like petty quarrels that are being brought in, of what Lumumba had said, that of small things, the law knows no cure. So yesterday, the Supreme Court was, first of all, and some of those responses that you are not supposed to be here, this one is in the wrong place. So cast up, now they firmed up. 9 issues from a plethora of things that were there initially. Yeah,
we're definitely going to miss Lumumba, by the way, in this petition. Do you have any? Well, before I go to Justina Wamae, at least finally I got
you've got it right.
You need to give me something for that. Arnold,
yeah.
Hizi vitu zinakuanga wapi? Hizi polling ballot boxes, where are they usually? After voting was zinapeleka wapi? In whose custody are they?
They're in IEBC's custody. Normally they have to be transported and kept in IEBC's warehouses. So they've been under police guard for that particular time. So whatever happens in there, there's quite a level of how you handle election material before, during, and after. We have got an electoral code of conduct that is signed by everybody who comes in contact with that particular material. So it's in IEBC's custody. Of course, IEBC does not have its own security. It's outsourced and, of course, then given to from government. So if there are going to be games here and there, or if there's fear that people could actually play around there is an electoral code of conduct that all of us who interact with the election or election materials and election material in the process, including that is, actually have to abide by that. So if anyone tampers with it, of course, you will always know, because the movement, the movement logs and everything else also exist. Yeah.
Okay. Justina, do you have any comments to make on what we're discussing?
What I'm saying, I believe it's a good thing in terms of monitoring and evaluation. But going forward, how about we had our elections online? Log in somewhere from the comfort of your home, your car, you vote, na inaenda. So that we avoid these issues, our agents were not there, agents were not paid. In fact, talking as an agent or a Kenya nuku chini, many agents are not happy with political parties. They were never paid. So going forward, we could think about making our election electronic, online, you vote online, they count online, so that we avoid such issues. Yes.
Okay. Tupige kura mahali huko, alafu unasonga nayo. Alright, bunga la mwananchi wa 779-800-010, 779-800-010. Bunga la mwananchi liko wazi, 779-800-010. Nambari ni 779-800-010. 779-800-010. Bunga la mwananchi liko wazi. Unaweza piga simu kuweza kuchangia mjadala, 779-800-010. Well, niangalia comments wangona wanasema aje. Still is saying, okay, tayari hata huyu hajanipea nafasi kidogo. Tusikia Doro. Hello, good morning. Good evening.
Hi. Good morning, how are you? Can you hear me well?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
Proceed, Doro.
Oh, hi. I posted a comment there a minute ago.
On Facebook.
There's feedback. I can hear myself.
Okay, please have your headphones on, ladies and gentlemen, please, so that we don't have the feedback coming back. All right. Okay, just a minute, Doro. Please proceed. Endelea.
Okay. Yes, I just posted a comment there, and I just wanted to say that Justina, I hope I'm not saying her name wrong.
Justina Wamae.
Yeah, Justina Wamae. First of all, she presented herself as a very, very, very strong lady who did very well at the debate. I never knew who she was before. But the debate really introduced her to the country and got a lot of people to know who she was. But then towards the end, I really, really don't think that her undermining the presidential candidate that picked her to be a running mate was the best way to go. Where there's more than one person existing in a project, if it's more than one person, there's always going to be some kind of conflict or some kind of just kutoelewana to your conflict. So I feel like it should have been solved in-house instead of it just being a public charade and making her presidential candidate look bad. Because she might think that it's making him look bad, but it's actually making her look bad. And this is going to fall back on her.
Okay.
That's just my take on this.
All right. Okay. Any other take?
Yeah. On the Supreme Court, so far, so good. I'm liking what's going on. And we just keep on praying that the right person, and when I say the right person, I mean either DP Ruto or Baba, will be the president of Kenya, or the right person will win. And also, there's a song here by Dolly Parton. It goes, "The best woman, may the best woman win." So in this case, may the best president win, and it's going to come out. We've seen a lot of things happening, and my one big question, I know I'm always controversial for you here, Gerald. My one big question is, how come throughout the whole electioneering process in 2022, we have not seen someone being beaten up, or someone being found with money, or someone being harassed and they are on Baba's side? But we've seen a lot of that on UDA side. Up until even yesterday, people were being thwarted and being beaten up because they were given money to give away. So that's just the swalinyeti for me, and I'm just hoping all these works out well and the best man wins.
Okay. All right. Thank you. May the best man win. Asante sana. Thank you so much, Doro. 779-800-010. 779-800-010. Bunga la Mwananchi liko wazi. Nambari 779-800-010. Justina.
Yes.
You've been put on the spot by Doro.
Yes. And Dorothy, thank you for that feedback. You know, feedback is both negative and positive. But one thing I can say is that, Dorothy, I didn't go on public. My party leader did. He sent out the letter on social media, and I was just responding to him. Dorothy, there's something we call the danger of a single story. So you being a woman, you know how women were classified. Either we are just dead as a dodo in politics. We do not have a voice. So I think I leave it out for you to judge, but your feedback is very important. And number two, I wasn't picked. You know, there's a difference between being picked. Being picked is that you're just appointed, no formal interview that was carried out, no competition. For me, we are 9 of us competing for this position. And I emerged the best. So for me, Dorothy, I think these are the challenges we face. And yes, I performed well during the debate. Thank you for that. At the very end, our differences is on principle, and everything is on public record. I am not undermining him in any way. Everything is on public record, including the summoning. So if it was to be dealt in-house, He's the one who put it out there. So I think it's so unfair for women leaders in this country. We always judge wrongly. But let me add this. I look forward to a day that leadership in this country will not be seen as a women or men affair. Whether if you're a governor, you're not a female governor. You're a governor, you're not a male governor. That is the day I look forward to in this country.
Okay. Bunga la mwenyechi, jambo. Have you headphones on?
Hello, Bitok.
Mwana headphones mapema sana. Jambo.
Jambo, how are you, sir?
Salama boss, who am I speaking to?
This is Maxwell. Now, let me first of all thank you for, you are bringing young people with brains.
Thank you so much, I appreciate
your program. I think we are learning a lot.
Asante sana boss.
We are speaking so much. And first of all, let me correct Doro. There is no best president winning at the Supreme Court. It is the rule of law that Kenyans winning at the Supreme Court. If it was about the best president winning, he won on 9. So we are not going to determine. I believe we are not going to determine who won at the Supreme Court. Probably it's what those lawyers called the students. Then that would be okay. But we look forward. So far, so good at the Supreme Court. I think Mother Com is bringing order. She's a strong person, and Justina, I think she needs to keep up. Having now come out in politics and becoming a running mate, then she needs to make sure her head is always up. She should not go disappear. So we can see her again in 2027. She needs to be around. She needs to participate in things. And I still doubt. Did she believe Jacoya 100%, or she was just there because she wanted to get a platform? Because I don't think she seemed not to be of the same. They seem not to have agreed on anything. It was only that she was pushing an agenda. But the future is luminous for her. She can concentrate on what is important now, forget about the Wajakoya issues and 2022, but put her head up. Let her see her doing things around. And then maybe, she's a good person. I think she brought out herself during the debate as a very, 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 very brilliant person. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Asante sana, Max. Thank you so much. 0779-800-010. Bunga la Mwananchi liko wazi. 0779-800-010. 0779-800-010. Bunga la Mwananchi liko wazi. 0779-800-010. Let us keep says, if Tuju and other state officials can threaten IEBC and appear on media to agree, what prevents them not to interfere with those ballot papers? Okay. Next, Destiny, I like the platform. Thank you so much. Kimoy Egosijor, number ya simu 779-800-010 or 779-800-010. Bunge, 779 or 779-800-010. Okay, in the number ya Bunge. Jen Mikali, the tackle today is tackling the brilliant young brains. They are brainstorming their issues intellectually. Watching you live, Kenneth, watching you live from University Campus Cases, Santa Mungai Gege, watching live from Seattle, Washington, USA. Kudos Wakili, kudos Justina, very informative discussion. Okay, talking about a TV station, Jera Betong, do you sasa tuko hapa? Hii ni TV ndogo ya wakulima. Haya. Kulima, may God continue giving you knowledge, bro. Open TV station, bro. Let a baby we assist you. Asante sana. If you wish to support, the number is there, 0727-919-322. That's M-Pesa number. If you wish to support, that's M-Pesa number, 727-919-322. Yeah. If you wish to support you in the M-Pesa. Okay. Arnold, do you believe in the credibility of the Supreme Court? That's been kabla hiyo acha tusikie mwana anasemaje. Bunge la Mwananchi, good morning.
Good morning, Gerald.
Good morning to you. How are you doing?
I'm good. I just want to commend the guys on the show. It's quite interesting. Okay. And, for Doros, he's saying the best president win. Well, we know who won, no? Let us wait and see what happens. But we know who won. And then all the shenanigans that have been going on with the state and trying to really influence the election. Because I liked the discussion that you had with Miguna last evening. And he really came out quite strongly and talked a lot about what the state has been doing behind the scenes, and why haven't people been apprehended for it? Because it's bizarre. Also, it doesn't bring comfort to know that a general in the military was trying to intimidate the chairman of an independent commission, and Raphael Tuju also saying that he showed up there to prevent issues that their agent or someone had called him to tell him. He was presenting them as who? Those are just shenanigans. So I think we know who won the election. I think we know who doesn't want to accept the results of the election. Let us see what the Supreme Court will do, that they will be a good arbiter in this process. As for Justina Wamae, I think she has a right to speak and to say what she feels like. And I think that if her party leader had tried to solve it behind the scenes, she wouldn't have come out. But he wanted to endorse a candidate that she didn't necessarily want to endorse. I mean, she has a voice, and she says she speaks. She wants to represent women and the youth, and I think that is great. I think Recta is where she says that there isn't a female or a male governor. Heck, there is, because we as women have been trying to get our rightful position in leadership, not only in the political space, in the corporate arena. So I think it's important to have those words and to mention and to say that we have this number of female governors. I think that is a good thing. Afterwards, when it comes to work, of course, you're not being evaluated on your work as a female. You're being evaluated as a governor. So let us not lose the gains that we've already made on gender parity and stuff like that. But yes, maybe I kind of understand what she was trying to say. Maybe it just needs to be said differently. And thank you for the show. Bye.
Asante sana. Thank you. That is the comments for me. I know it's very quick and fast. Arnold, I'd ask you a question about the credibility of...
well, if we're going to look at the credibility of the Supreme Court, I need to go back to what I said earlier on. The Supreme Court is not part and parcel of the elections. Politicians are busy marketing the Supreme Court as part and parcel of the elections. We completed elections on 9th of August. The results, especially the last ones, the presidential results were declared on 15th of August. So no one is going... There is no election in the Supreme Court. What the Supreme Court is just going to look at people who have got contestations here and there, and at the end of the day, the Supreme Court will not decide who wins and who doesn't win, because people already cast their vote, and the vote is supreme. It is therefore not going to change. So, you're speaking about the credibility of the Supreme Court. I need to say this, that between us as Kenyans and full spectrum anarchy is the Supreme Court. The only buffer between us as a country and what I call anarchy, whatever creative way you will want to call it, whether it is a BBI of sorts, whether it's a handshake of sorts, whether you want to call it a constitutional crisis, between the country and anarchy, because we are a constitutional order, right? Kenya is a constitutional order. We are a country of the rule of law. So anything outside of the constitution, I call it anarchy. So between we as a people and anarchy is the Supreme Court. So the Supreme Court must make a choice. First of all, the Supreme Court has got only two things to actually work on. The first thing is fidelity to the law. The second thing is that the Supreme Court of Kenya must choose to be the Supreme Court of Kenya. They must choose Kenya. Why do I say that? I say that because where we sit today now, we do not have a competent and legitimate IEBC that can conduct elections. First of all, we have got the Bomas three, Chebukati, Gulie, and Molu, whom one side of the players feel weren't fair to them. Then now there is then the OPEC 4. With the OPEC 4, who's going to actually trust them on the other side? They've done everything, including stopping being independent, and picked sides. They even had their own petition. I have never seen a petition in my life where you have hired a lawyer to go and defend you by admitting that this was wrong. So, as in, are those guys trying to tell us, as in any judge, any court will see the mischief. Thank God for the Supreme Court for actually having seen through the mischief that was that particular petition. So, a section of those commissioners are seen as not being fair. So, IEBC as constituted, of course, IEBC is set, is full. Is a full set. It's constitutionally constituted. Yes, they are full house. Yes, but it's just beyond being legal. It also, we are talking about issues about legitimacy, for example. Are they even competent? We are seeing things coming out. So, any other decision that takes us to election, if the court, for example, were to order a rerun or a re-election, what IEBC will conduct that? Because I know that the Kenya Kwanza side has said they are willing to have anybody conduct elections. But after what the OPEC 4 have done, anybody, even in Kenya Kwanza, who actually says that they are ready to meet any other person, that person will actually be mad. You cannot accept Cherera and group to oversee an election where they have already picked sides. The other side, Raila Odinga is saying he doesn't want Chebukati, Gulie, and so taking us back to an election is sending us into anarchy, because we know the other side. Baba atakata, atasema yeye hataki nini, hawezi enda elections na Chebukati. He already has said that. He will insist that we do procurement of the new technology. He will want even a sweeper in IEBC to be vetted afresh. So when will we ever have a competent and constituted IEBC that can hold elections? And like I said, we need to remind Kenyans that the Supreme Court is not part and parcel of our elections. Politicians have marketed it to look like it's part and parcel of election. It is not. We already did elections. We have got a winner. And the earlier we accept that, and by the way, Kenyans have accepted that. Do you know why? Why? Have you seen anyone actually chasing the other one in the streets? We did our elections. This is the first time we have waited longest for the results, for the presidential results. Yet, did you see anything? You didn't see anything. People have moved on. We've matured. As a country, we are growing. As a people, we've actually grown. You see, when people bring in these new things, they are giving you ideas. We've gone to the Supreme Court. That's what I'm saying. We need to tell each and everyone that the Supreme Court is not part and parcel of elections. So when you see people bringing some hope by way of telling you now we've gone to the Supreme Court, this going, it's just like an ex who waits while you are healing, alafu anatuma, hey, wewe uko tu busy una heal, alikuumiza along the way. Then unaona hapo wameleta ka truckload ya evidence. That is like mtu saa ile unajaribu kuheal, ex anatuma ka message hapo. Anararuanisha ile kidonda aliacha ilikuwa imeanza kupona. So and by the politicians, there's a group of politicians that are not happy that Kenyans moved on. They really expected, you know, the kind ile kuuza the National Security Advisory, I don't know this committee or council, it's not even a council, that one. Yeah, when they went to Bomas, what had they gone? Walikuwa wameenda kuuza uoga. As in, walienda kuuzia Chebukati na
they wanted to go to the country.
No, they walienda kuuza uoga. I'm using an affidavit. Okay. That is a statement made under oath. Wachana na hiyo statement ingine wamefanya huko kwingine. They went there kuuzia Chebukati na commissioners uoga. Kuwa people had started to fight in Mathare. Which people had started fighting in Mathare? Walikuwa wameenda kuwauzia uoga. And by the way, even by bringing in a major, not a general, as in a major, as in I'm talking about, by bringing in the vice CDF, a military man. Unajua, it's just like umeenda kudai deni yako alafu unaenda na bouncer so that mtu asikuguze. It was just as in kuonyesha uzito. Walikuwa wameenda kuuza uoga Bomas. Lakini makosa ni kuwa hawakupata wateja wa kununua uoga wao. So why have I taken long to just respond to the point about the Supreme Court being credible? Why am I saying that? I say that because I am a Kenyan and I know that since politicians and a section of the political class have already boxed the commission into different corners, do not be surprised that they might have attempted to reach out to the Supreme Court. We are Kenyans, we are not casting aspersions, and the Supreme Court cannot even dare ask us why we are putting out statements like this. For the simple reason that we know in this country, out here people are saying, we don't care, they're already counting, so-and-so is our person in the Supreme Court, so-and-so. Those things, we are a country of free speech, yes? So we know that people might try to make attempts. That's why I actually said that the Supreme Court has got two options: fidelity to the law, and choosing to be the Supreme Court of Kenya. Of course, there is a mantra that at the Supreme Court, being the apex court, 40% is legal, 60% is political, because the Supreme Court is honestly a political court, whatever way you look at it. But still, it has to go through, you have to wade through like any other court, right? So we know that in the past, people have refused to hire lawyers because they know they will buy judges. Yeah. We know that a section of political classes have tried and, of course, succeeded in ensuring that IEBC is not independent, IEBC is not functional. We hope and pray that no one has attempted that on the Supreme Court. We also hope and pray that those 3 women and 4 men will be patriotic enough to know that between the country and anarchy is them. They actually have to choose Kenya. They have to be patriotic, and they have to read the mood of the country. The country has decided to move on. The country has decided to actually get moving. So we really cannot get back. Hii mambo ya watu kusema hai, unajaribu kupona, mtu anaenda kuchokora kidonda tena na kudunga ndani kijiti. As in, the court should not even try to do that, because we are not in a position where IEBC can conduct elections. What kind of elections? And if you're going to do away, this one is now, let's say that we are getting political around that. MCAs are out there. By today, I think we have got about 50 of them constituted. I don't know whether Utawala did their elections. No, so we should be talking about 49 MCAs. None of them thinks that they were not duly elected. None of them actually says, mimi vile naona nilichaguliwa, siko tayari. Governors already took their oath. The biggest number of governors ni wa kwetu kwa Azimio. Hiyo kerende yote haikukataa kuchukua kiapo ikisema kuwa sasa sisi hatuoni kama tulichaguliwa vizuri. Governors were sworn in, they feel, including my governor who was elected yesterday, my home governor, Fernandez Baraza. He has not come out and say, hii IEBC haikai ni kama inajua kuchaguana. He already has accepted kuwa ameshinda. Ule mwingine mwenye alikuwa ile side nyingine amekubali kushindwa. And no one is complaining. So we cannot therefore then say that only the presidential election, if we nullify that, then by the way, there's just this logic. Of course, it's not. People will say that the law looks at facts, as in the court looks at facts, evidence, law. But then let's just reason pedestrianly, kama watu wa barabara. We had a general election that had got 6 ballots. Hii moja peke yake ilifanywa kwa kila polling station ndio mbaya, na hizi zingine zote ziko sawa. Wasijaribu hata kuturudisha huko nyuma. The country has moved on. And the Supreme Court, I don't want even to say that kuna mtu amewatembelea ama amejaribu kuwathreaten. We know in this country people are so desperate they can do anything. But they have got 2 options: fidelity to the law, adherence to the fidelity to the law, and they have to remember they are the Supreme Court of Kenya, not the Supreme Court of Azimio, the Supreme Court of State House, or the Supreme Court of Arambe House. They are not the Supreme Court of any other place. Those 4 men and 3 women are the Supreme Court of Kenya. That we have to remind them. I know they don't need reminding. They've actually come out very well. No one has got a problem with them as far as we have seen. But I'm just saying that we know that political actors can actually be crafty. They have compromised and sabotaged IEBC. Who tell you that they cannot try to sabotage the Supreme Court? They can. So the credibility of the Supreme Court is also on the line. I know people are going to actually get angry with that. But their credibility, already the political players have messed up with IEBC. And then you think these people will draw the line when it comes to the Supreme Court? Hawa watu hawana aibu. We are dealing with people who are shameless. So we also know that they could try and put the credibility of the Supreme Court online. Those men and women must remember that 53 million people now look forward to moving on with their lives. The progress of tomorrow and everything else is now in their hands. So I don't want to talk about whether they are as in whether I'm worried or not. I've put out my case, and anyone who actually has got a little bit of brain in it know exactly what I am saying. Yeah.
Okay. Justina, you have any comments to make on that?
What I can add is something I'd said earlier on. Probably this Form 34 was put through public scrutiny. Going forward, I'd like to see Form 35 for the MPs on the public portal, Form 36 for the MCs. Let's continue, a continuous improving in our systems. But let me add something that the last caller said, that I said that there are no lady governors. I said going forward, I look forward to a day. Another thing, we've seen how people behave. A reasonable Kenyan on a bus would say, in 2017, the election was nullified. But was it NASA that time? The NASA candidate refused to participate. So why should you be taken through the whole process and then he refuses? Because Chebukati is just the only one who's going to do the election. So as a reasonable Kenyan, we are saying the economy is bad, the cost of living is high, we are tired. In fact, when you go on a campaign trail, Kenyans are so tired with politicians, they feel like chasing them. So I believe it's about time we move on as a country and remedy the challenges we're facing.
Okay. All right. We still had Doro had come back online. I don't know. Doro.
I actually wanted to tell Doro something. I don't know whether
she's here. Doro, are you still there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
Yes.
Arnold does something for you before you tell us something. Or you tell us something first.
I have a quick one.
Okay.
I have a quick one for Justina. Yes, I had your response that I don't know if I should, what word should I use? I'll call her your presidential candidate is the one who took the information public. I mean, if that's what the case is, then, well, I guess you have a right of response in public.
Okay.
Now I'm going back to Arnold. Arnold has said a lot of things, that actually cannot be very safe for this country as it is right now. The reason that Kenyans did not go on the streets and fight each other, or they're not poking fingers on each other, doesn't mean that they're stupid and they've moved on. It doesn't mean that.
Okay.
And you need to get that point very, very clearly and delete it out of your mind.
Okay.
Kenyans chose peace. Excuse me, sorry about that. Kenyans chose peace and went to court. Went to Supreme Court so that the court can decide.
Okay.
You cannot sit there and clearly tell me that you don't think that the elections were bungled in any kind of way. Then that means you're not a realist.
Okay.
You're not a realist because there's so much stuff that is not adding together. We even went 0.01. I know you guys make fun of that Cherera lady with 0.01. Yes, she calculated wrong, she said wrong. But how do we have an election with a 0.01 over? That's an error right there. So the fact that IEBC, both of them have been compromised, both sides, the ones you call the opaque ones and the Chebukati ones have been compromised. That is even a bigger reason why the Supreme Court should check, and they are going to determine. This is going to be shock on your face. The Supreme Court is going to determine who the rightful president is after they finish doing whatever they need to do. They will.
Okay.
So that is a fact right there, and they could decide that actually Ruto was. They could uphold him, or they could decide that based on what we have found out, based on the evidence. Baba is the president. So don't go there trying to tell people, you have to be sensitive here. First of all, I'm not standing here saying that Ruto must go, he didn't become a president, he stole. I can't say that because I don't know. Even if evidence is pointing towards a lot of those things, I cannot say that. So you cannot just come here and tell 50% of Kenyans to just move on. Move on where? Okay. And the fact that they're not poking fingers on each other, that means they have moved on. That is, kutubeba ujinga. Don't talk like that in public because it's going to bring the country down. That's not fair. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Arnold is here. He had something as well, so maybe he can combine it with the right of reply. Okay, she has disappeared.
Oh, she's disappeared. Okay, so I'll just say I needed to actually talk to Doro earlier on. She'd mentioned something incidentally, she also wanted to talk to me. So Doro, I think nataka nitafute namba yako na utafute yangu. Sana ile yangu ya M-Pesa. Anyway, moving on swiftly.
Sasa anasukuma wave. Ushaiona message ya wave. Nakujanga mara mbili.
Yeah. So I need to actually say this. Doro had said initially that why haven't we seen people on Kenya Kwanza's side being arrested with money or being beaten with money? I don't know what news sources Doro actually checks out. Otherwise, that habit cuts across. That she's never seen the person in Azimio. In Kakamega, we saw, people I don't want to mention names here, and it's reported widely. So it's just our bad manners. The political class in this country loves dishing out money. It happens in all elections. So, and it's that one, you actually has no side. It has no political color to it. Giving out money is actually very common. And it's good she's actually brought out this issue. I need to say this. As of 9th August, 1,882 positions fell vacant. 16,000 people, including myself and Justina here, were running for those particular positions. Over 14,000 people lost. Now, let's get this very, very clearly. Elections are a competition, not a war. In competitions, we don't lose. There are no people who have lost. Asiyekubali kushindwa sio mshindani. That is what ile wahenga walisema, ama ni Waswahili? Yeah. Asiyekubali kushindwa sio mshindani. This is elections. It is not war. So, whatever the outcome of an election, we should not treat it as a matter of life and death. Yeah? So out of the 16,000 people who ran for elections and 14,000 of them plus lost, we should stop recruiting the voters, the people who gave us support, into hating our opponents. Can we put this very, very clearly? That 14,000 people lost, not 7 million people. If we are going to have that mentality, that if I lose, my people have lost, and therefore we have got a number of losers, then we should start from this end. At the world level, somebody won, other people lost. We should be coming up with a situation that addresses that. At the constituency level, somebody won, others lost. So their supporters also did what? Lost, right? At the county level, we have got the county member of parliament, we have got the senator, we have got the governor. So hata governor fulani akishinda sasa, pia hapo pia kuna wale watu wenye sasa in Kakamega, about 1 million people lost, and therefore, as in, we've got about 2 million people, and therefore we assume that close to people, as in the other half that didn't actually get it, now the county is divided. That kind of logic is defeatist, is reactionary, and is not embedded in democracy. We cannot, and I need to repeat this. When Raila Odinga loses, 7 million Kenyans do not lose. When I lose in Dagoretti North, it doesn't mean that half the other people in Dagoretti North have lost. This is the truth of a democracy. That if I lose and Betty Selachi wins, she has to serve everybody. She is the member of parliament of everybody in Dagoretti North. It doesn't matter. The same way, we should stop recruiting and saying that we have got 7 million losers. That is not true. They were not contesting. There was one contestant. They only gave you support. We should stop and drop that reactionary and defeatist line of thinking that 7 million at half the country lost. Half the country lost what? Whoever comes in does not become the president of half the country. If William Ruto became president today, he is the president of the Republic of Kenya. He is the president of those who voted for him and those who didn't vote for him. Even if Raila Odinga won today, he becomes the president of the Republic of Kenya and not the president of Azimio or of those people who voted for him. It is a lie. It should not, and politicians should stop selling that particular lie, that if I lose, my people have lost. You know, this is politics. It is not war. Let us also remember and tell people that this is elections. We are not going to battle, and that there will be people who die. In elections, there are no casualties. There are no casualties. So it's not true. And you actually take it very lightly, but we actually need to repeat this repeatedly. That it is an election. It is not a war. It is politics. We are not in a battle. In an election, the only person who loses is the candidate.
Okay. All right. Acha tusikie jamani, New Jersey. Maina from New Jersey.
Thank you. Hello.
Good morning to you, sir. How are you? Or is it evening on your end?
Okay. Hello. My name is Colin Kenyuka. I'm calling from New Jersey.
Sorry. I confused with you with some guy who goes from New Jersey. You calling in from New Jersey?
I'm calling you from New Jersey, New Jersey.
Okay. All right. Please proceed, sir. Oh, I'm speaking to Kevin. You said
good.
You said Kevin?
Good morning. Yep.
All right. Please proceed.
Okay. My name is Collins.
Collins, yes. Collins. Right.
Yeah, calling from New Jersey.
Okay.
I like the discussion and I like how it goes, but there is something that the advocate, Arnold, is not getting clear. I like Justina because she's very plain, very open, and she has a future in politics. Whether she starts from the lower level, and I know she tried in 2017 and she's still doing good.
Yes.
Even as at now, even if she doesn't go back to the same party where she is, she has a future.
Okay.
For Advocate Maliba, there is a problem here. The politics that we have is a problem in Kenya because we still believe in a presidency of tribes. That's why you find when a certain tribe goes for the presidency, you find that other people leave their other parties to join him because they think it's their time to eat. At times when we will know that the presidency belongs to the people of Kenya, and all the systems work well, nobody will care who becomes the president.
Okay.
We still believe in presidency of tribes. That's why we still say that if a Kalenjin stands for presidency, every person wants to endear himself to him so that he becomes an MP or a member of county assembly. People don't still understand that the president being your tribe, even the Luo, has nothing to do with an MCA who comes from the village. Because the top may be an MCA in the village belonging to another party, ANU, or let's say BP, but he performs well than the person who is being elected in ODM if he comes from the Luo land, or in UDA if he comes from the Kalenjin land. If we separate tribes from the presidency, then our things will work. He said something about if the presidency was bad and the MP election was good. Our problem in election is too much interest put on the presidency. That's why you see most of the petitions coming to the Supreme Court. We don't have a lot of problems with the elections of the members of parliament. That's why you see there is a lot of concession. People are conceding, including the one that's done in Kakamega. People are conceding.
Yes.
It's not that the election was not done well. The election was done well. If you see Kenyans not going to the street for the 2022 election, it does not mean that they are stupid. People have not moved on. It's only that compared to the 2017, this election seems to be more well and good. The only problem starts when it comes to Starling, which they say there was a problem. And I think the Supreme Court should do its own indulgence and find if there is no problem, then they approve the election. If there was a problem, then they have to tell the people the problem was this and this. You see those accusations and counter accusations of the members of the executive interfering with the election council, or the election council interfering with the opposition and what and what. All those shows we have a lot of vested interest in who becomes the president.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
We don't be the same.
Asante Collins. All right. In the of time, wacha tupe mtu mwingine nafasi pia. Good morning. Bunga la Mwanyenche.
Hello?
Bunga la Mwanyenche, mambo vipi?
Yes, vipi chiki?
Salama sana, leta habari baba.
Naona ulikuwa umenimisa hata hiyo jamaa na unamuita Maina.
Adada amekuchanganya na sema Maina. Ni vizuri umekuja. Nituletee pesa pia tukule na.
Mambo namna gani?
Aduna maneno.
Mzuri sana. Sasa mimi kuna vitu kadhaa nilikuwa nataka kuongea kutokana na msemaji wa mwisho ambaye alikuwa anaongea.
Na tuchukue wakati kidogo. Na ukimbiza kwa sababu ya wakati please.
Okay. Sijakusikia vizuri, pande yako kuko na echo kidogo.
Ninasema na ukimbiza because of time.
Okay, haya, sawa, nitakimbiza haraka. Kitu ya kwanza nimesikia akisema at 6 million people to move on where? Ilikuwa ni mambo watu wawili wanapiga kura. Ni kama coin umetoss, pande moja ikianguka, pande nyingine ikianguka, mnajipanga rais wa nchi yote. Kitu ya pili, when you come and you want to put your point across, stop kusema mwingine asiseme vile anasema. Wewe peana pointi yako, hapana ambia mwingine asiseme, kwa sababu kila mtu wako na uhuru ya kusema vile anataka. Ni hayo GB. Kura Supreme Court tutashinda.
Asante.
Kwaherini wa Kenya, kuweni na mchana mwema.
Haya, salimia na ujasi. Na ukuje utembee nyumbani.
Asante.
Thank you so much. Diaspora simu mbili za mwisho. Kuna mtu ambaye alikuwa ameweka pending hapa kwa muda mrefu. If you are holding online, I didn't see that you had a call already running in. So please, you can call him back. I take your call as the last one. The person who just left the call, piga simu tusikie mambo yako vipi. Alright, namba ni 779-800-010, 779-800-010. Na wale pia ambao wanataka kufanya wanasema wanataka kufanya mambo ya support, nambari ni 727-919-322. M-Pesa 727-919-322. Simon Maishil, let the truth be told, if someone wins, it doesn't mean it will stop people who voted for him. Okay? I think this was the gentleman that I kept. Good morning, Bungala Mwenyenchi.
Yes, how are you, Gerald?
Salama sana boss, mambo vipi?
Yes, this is Elvis.
Yes, Elvis, mambo.
Okay, nilikuwa nataka nichangie pia kuhusu I think Arnold has put it clear. This country nchi yetu ya Kenya move on, my friend.
Mulianda.
If you look at the stability of our country, people are not focused with this kind of politics going around.
Okay.
From what is happening, from the reflection of what is happening in the country, it is a clear evidence that people have moved on.
Okay.
So it is not actually, I would wish to concur with Arnold from the fact that actually this country needs more of economic stability more than the politics. So I can simply tell you that wananchi wa Kenya wameenda mbele and they are not interested anymore with what is happening around. I wish only I could conclude that we want the Supreme Court to hold the election.
Okay.
To allow this country to move on. We are fed up with politics. I think that's what I ask for now. Thank you.
Asante sana. Habari ya mwisho. Good morning. Bungala Mwenyenchi. Bungala Mwenyenchi, jambo. Bungala Mwenyenchi. Tafadhali simu yako ikichukuliwa zima sauti pale nyuma. Uweze jisikia pia na usikie yako. Ngumu kidogo. Haya. Because sasa kama huyu ameshindikana, nilikuwa nataka kumpea nafasi lakini kama mambo yake yamezidi kidogo. Haya, turudi kwenye mjadala. Arnold mamenshoniwa, Justina mamenshoniwa.
Wacha Justina aende kwanza.
What I pick from Kenyans is that some feel that they haven't moved on. But in the spirit of moving on as a country, can we do other things as a country so that politics is not seen as lucrative? You know, the reason why people adapt the duo, the idea you must win, ama ukufe, is because we invest so much money. Kenyans love money. By the way, we used to go on the campaign trail. You speak so much and they're like, alafu. So first, Kenyans need to move away from the idea that you must be given money to vote. It is your right. Number two, can we have other things like agriculture, industries, manufacturing, so that when you're coming into politics, it's just mere public service. You're not out there to get lucrative salaries. In fact, I dare say, we should have mswada, like if you come in as a teacher, the salary you earn in parliament is equivalent to what a teacher earns or what you are earning, so that you can fight for the betterment of the teachers. If you come in as a businessman who has been paying taxes and you're the one who drives this economy, you can earn a bigger salary, so that everyone who goes there looks out for the interests of the others. But it should move away from lucrative business to public service.
Okay, let's move away from lucrative business to business service. Haya, to public service. Sema maneno yako mbio baba. If in 30 seconds you don't have your act right, you are gone, my brother. Haya. Why utajaribu kesho, Arnold?
Say, and I need to repeat this, is that politics is not a matter of do or die. You know, the good thing, especially for those of us who came from Azimio, there was a lot of these issues about zoning. That weaker candidates were to be zoned and then stronger candidates. Stronger just meant that you are on the right side of the political divide. Muko kona moja lakini bado kwa bench unaambiwa wewe. It's common even in sportsmanship. Unaambiwa wewe leo kaa kwa bench, kocha anaweka mtu mwingine. So there was zoning. Lakini Mungu naye ni nani? You know, as they try to zone us, voters also zoned them. You know, in this particular election, no one actually survived zoning. If the party did not zone you or your coalition didn't zone you, the voters zoned you. Yeah, so all of us, at least, zoning happened for everybody. But I need to say this. We need to demystify power, and specifically the presidency. The Constitution 2010 worked so hard to do away with the imperial presidency. We gave a lot of power to parliament. We moved the power to the judiciary. We gave other powers to the independent offices. So we cannot and we should not be recruiting our supporters into hating our opponents. Part and parcel of political education, whether it is civic education, voter education, or everything else, is to remind people that this is an exercise you are doing and that the outcome are two. Your candidate can win or your candidate can lose. Yes. We cannot be entitled to political leadership to a level where if I lose, then something has to give. That we will keep on changing laws until our candidate wins. You know, I support Manchester United. And when we were doing very well, sometimes back when Manchester United was doing very well, there was time when there was luck. And every time we would be given about 2 to 3 minutes, sometimes 5, and sometimes we would score a winning goal then. So people started, every time that board, the time extension board is lifted, people would then say, they will Photoshop it and say, until we win. You know, we cannot be in a scenario where in politics that for some other people, it is until we win for them. There are laws and rules, but then if they don't get what they want, that kind of entitlement should stop. I look forward, by the way, to being president one day, probably the 6th. And I know one thing, that when you go out there and campaign, you can get either voted for
or voted against.
Or voted against. As in, everybody who goes to a poll knows that. But then, when I lose, people have not lost. I should be magnanimous enough in victory, and I should also be humble in defeat. So, the presidency is not like 7 million people have lost. What have they lost? They have lost their own country? No. They were expressing their opinion. Their opinion did not carry the day because in a democracy, the majority have their say, even as the minority have their way. The majority have their way. The minority have their say. As in, how many times do we really need to actually say that repeatedly? That, you know, like some of us, by the way, we voted in all the 6 ballots we voted for. For me, only one person won. I cast out of 6. Kamoja tu ndio kalingi, as in bet zilichomeka zote. And I am here talking. I cast 6 ballots. Sijakufa.
Na ujaenda street.
Na sijaenda kuchoma kibanda pahali eti kwa sababu candidate wangu wa MCA kupita, candidate wangu mimi mwenyewe nilijipigia MP sikupita. So I should actually be a very angry person. So nilikuwa na ballots ngapi? Nilikuwa na bet 6. 5 zilichomeka, moja peke yake. So hakuna jackpot. So this is sportsmanship. I'm taking time to actually say that because there are people who want to make this look like the sky will fall if I lose. It will not, my friend. By the way, if there's anything about life is that it moves on. We come on earth, we do and play our part, and we move forward. So, on the presidency, this idea of saying that 6 million people lost or 7 million people lost or half the country lost is even a lie. A third of Kenyans did not vote. They either registered or have not registered. They did not show up to vote. 33% voted for William Ruto. 32% voted for Raila Odinga. So which half of this country lost? There is a whole third that were saying they are neither for Raila or Uhuru. And they have got a say. Yeah, so hii mchezo ya kusema that half the country lost. What did it lose? We were expressing our say. For those of us like myself who cast our vote and it didn't count, hata kwa yangu peke yake hii hazinikutangazwa. I had my say. The majority had their way. So we need to remind voters instead of actually trying to hype up the country. And like I said, there are so many political players who are unhappy that Kenyans chose peace, that Kenyans chose Kenya, that Kenyans chose progress, and that Kenyans chose the rule of law. We cast our vote. If you have got a problem with it, go to court. If the court decides otherwise, we will show up and again cast our vote. So Kenyans were not losers in this particular bit. And then this messaging where it looks like, if I lose, you guys have lost. bwana, we were born without you, we have lived, tumetoka hiyo mbali yote tumefika. Like just the same way wewe ni mtu umegrow, then sasa mtu anaanza kuambia I can't live without you. As this guy that level of infatuation should actually be dropped. So
you want to kill our lyrics.
So you watch na hiyo mambo ya kusema ate alafu somebody else has spoken about was actually just reinforcing my point, is only that he probably didn't get it the way I actually saying. You see, this idea of having he called it tribal presidency. I'm looking forward to a day when ethnicity will not be the gold standard of our choices in politics. I'm looking forward to a day where we will not be forced to take decisions simply because we are a certain tribe. I'm looking for a day when Aduruma will become president of this country, by the way. You meet some of them and they are very brilliant people. So it's not just that, of course, at the moment, we are a growing democracy. And we cannot, I have seen this conversation about that we need to start looking into the domination of two tribes on the presidency. So, we have diluted the presidency. We say the vote is supreme, but still we want to damp down on that vote to a level where we are creating a lot of stories about this thing. So it's true that the Kikuyus and Kalenjins have been the presidents but did we vote for them, for example? How many people voted for Kibaki? There were Kalenjins. In fact, almost half the Kikuyus didn't vote for Kibaki on the first time. The rest of us Kenyans actually thought that dude made sense. We voted for him. And didn't he do sense? He did. Uhuru and Ruto were also voted for by a section of Kenyans, as much as everybody has had their particular end. So driving that particular, we are just going to emerge. You see, it's the same thing with women, for example. I don't like us qualifying why women should be in spaces, because they should be in those spaces because they are Kenyans, they are human beings. Hakuna kitu ya explain that women are better leaders or something like that. No. They should be in those spaces because they are Kenyans and they are entitled to all the rights. So, hii mambo ya kusema when we have got women, it's better, na hizo vitu zingine zote, that is just some patriarchy with a little bit of imefunikwa juu na icing to look like it's a progressive conversation. It's not. So, one of these fine days, we are going to have people come in and we need to actually allow meritocracy and growth. So, just because William Ruto is I don't know whether he's Nandi or he's Kipsigis. Sasa asikuwe president because some Tugen who was once a president. Yeah? Just because there was a president from Kiambu at some point. And his son, whom he left kama bado ni kadogo, has come on akaishi peke yake, amekuwa president. Sasa ni wa Kikuyu. How many Kikuyus have benefited out of Uhuru? They're not there. So I know people drive that particular agenda. They push it so much. There's merit to that particular discussion. But I think the way it is pitched is not the right way. So, ethnicity needs, when we demystify power, even ethnicity will stop looking like it's a big thing. This time by the Kikuyus have really done a good thing. Normally, I'll tell you, do you know why these elections were not high stakes? Guys were saying, there was no voter turnout, it wasn't. Normally, Kikuyus are so good at hyping stuff. They are my relatives, so I'll tell you. They're very good at hyping. And me and her actually know each other. Because in 2017, we were running in the same constituency. As they taught her the little fear of God on the other side. Anyway, so they know how to sell an agenda. Kikuyus are like Americans. They can sell something mpaka ununue. So, normally when politicians have actually made it look like they are stakes, Kikuyus come out in force and in numbers. And therefore, the other people on the other side then feel threatened and mobilized. So we have got a high stakes, an octane kind of elections. Now this time around, Kikuyus decided that we must not have a horse leading in this particular race. So we will walk back and still vote. And have you ever seen, has a meteorite fallen in Mount Kenya? Ama unasikia Kikuyu wamekufa because walivotia mtu mwingine. Hajakufa. It's actually a level where, you talk about national unity. They were there. They didn't have a race because it has been easy for lazy political thinking to mobilize against the Kikuyus. It becomes easy. Watu watatumaliza. Normally it's normally that way. Huku kwingine wale wana behave kama high stakes, huku kwingine wengine wanauziwa uoga. Unajua hii biashara ya siasa watu wanapenda kuuziana uoga sana. Watatumaliza. Sasa in that tunaenda elections ni kama tunaenda war. This election was fair. Tulitokelezea kila mtu alitoka bila alitoka na tukafanya vizuri. So in future it will not be there. And then there is going to be a day where you are sent to the presidency and people do not even ask you your second name. And it doesn't matter. Kama wewe ni mtu wa navy blue kama sisi, unajua hii sisi hatukwangi black, tunakwanga karibu na navy blue. As in no one really cares and asks about you. We are still Kenyans at the end of the day. I know that Kenya is a republic, yes, and it's not yet a nation. We are going to jail into a nation eventually. It is a process. But hii maneno ya kushinda kuuza, but then just because it's a concern doesn't make it true. Just because other people feel like they have been left out because one of them has not been a president, we should not be making long-term decisions on short-term. You know, like for example, men are actually feeling very comfortable. Women have actually come, wako tu karibu kutu overtake. Unaona kama hapo Nakuru hapo hivyo. Soon tutakuwa tuna nominate wanaume. Kwa article 177 sasa will be applying to men. Very soon, by the way. Tutafikia Rwanda because pole to the girl child has just come in pole.
Affirmative action.
Sisi tutakuwa hapo by the way, tutakuwa tunafanya press conference. Sisi kama wanaume tumekaliwa hizo vitu zingine zote. So
tunaomba men.
So if you want to see how you legislate for long term, look at article 177. It talks about gender as opposed to women. So if imagine we actually would have gone to a place where we are talking about women specifically, what if then they overtake us? So we need to actually think in posterity. We also don't just we live for tomorrow, not always for today. So that short-termism way of looking at things. And sparring, you know, there's this conversation ile yenye, sasa Wakikuyu na Wajaluo wanatumaliza na hizo vitu zingine zote tunaenda huko ngine hasa ni Wakale na watu wengine. It's easy. You know, the problem with our politics is that it's a politics that lacks ideology. It's a politics of laziness. People do not want to think. And people come out here and make comments on national television and TV and even social media with authority as if hizo vitu zina make sense. It's political laziness. And some of it is just political bad manners. You know, it should be about ideology. It should be about policies, about where we are going as a country. All right. I need to finalize by saying this. Please. The first liberation, and I've said this a lot of times, was kufukuza mbeberu, fighting for independence. The second liberation, we realized that just like, you know, they say love is not enough in a relationship because it can't pay bills, it can't do all those things. We realized that independence alone was not enough. We needed good governance. And almost immediately we started the war for good governance. 50 years down the line, it is embedded or embodied in the Constitution 2010. We now have got a transformative constitution. A very progressive one. We've got a proper governance framework that everybody looks at. We've got devolution. It's working. Now, the third and final liberation is Article 43, socioeconomic empowerment, so that independence and good governance reflects by having money in your pocket. That is the burden. So whoever comes to you and tells you that they will implement Article 43, but you see, because they say the price of democracy or freedom is eternal vigilance, then we bring in Article 10. So there are two things that you should never forget going forward. Article 10 and Article 43 for good governance and socioeconomic empowerment going forward. So whoever can ensure that we realize Article 43, mtu akikuuzia sera na uone itikadi yake, itikadi si kitu mbaya sana, it's just policy kwa Kiswahili. Uone sera yake. Unajua kitambo wewe wa yangu ulikuwa unasikia itikadi kali. Yeah, so wanamgambo wenye itikadi kali. So yes, so if you find anyone who actually can ensure that we realize Article 43, housing, education, clean water, just dealing with the basic poverty stuff, as in social welfare, dignity of life, so that we are Kenyans who actually are also socially and economically empowered. Pige huyo mtu kura. Hapa na mtu kukuja kuambia because I come from this tribe tupigie mtu mwingine, because wale watu wanatukula most of the time sometimes ni watu kutoka kwa kabila zetu. The people who have mismanaged our economy, most of them come from our tribes. The people who have destroyed our businesses have been people from our tribe sometimes. So tribe should not be the big thing and should not cloud the way we think. We have to remember that we are a country that is trying to be a nation. Let us not continuously build these two small tribe nations huku chini chini. Let us gel into one.
All right. Your closing remarks, Justina. Your tackle of the day.
My worry is the 8 million who did not vote. And then it takes me back when Kibaki was leaving power. We were all registering for CDS accounts to trade shares. I don't know what happened to all that. You see even CDS sending us messages. Please, activate your account. That means our economy is not doing well. So I'm looking forward to someone who, when they come into government, they are the president of everyone, but they need to engage the 8 million and find out what is the reason why they do not want to be active citizens. But to the Kenyans, let me leave you with something from the book Who Moved My Cheese by Spencer Johnson.
Who Moved My Cheese?
We are told to be positive, adapt to change positively, and abandon the fear and self-satisfaction. People, as Arnold has said, let me copy him in those 2 articles, that good governance and social economic empowerment should be a drive. So let us look at the future. Let us be peaceful. Lakini cha msingi, inchi ni yetu. Sisi peke yetu ndo tutaijenga.
Okay. Inchi ni yetu. Sisi wenyewe tutaijenga. I think my biggest clarion call during this electionary period has been, I've always told you that we'll have an election. A Kenyan will win an election. It will be a Kenyan. It will be a human being. That Kenyan will not have a tail. Just be a regular guys that will be so on the streets. And this country will move on. I think we've moved. Also, the Supreme Court will rule. And this country as well will move on. We already moved on. We're already doing the things that we kept doing. My biggest prayer was to wake up on the 10th of August to do what I do. And I woke up actually on the 10th of August and we were here talking about these things.
I'm sorry. Nimeona watu wanachapa watu wa Bungoma, wanasema sijui nini. When I actually said that this election was won and lost in Bungoma, I meant it because that is what data did. And the people of Bungoma have got a right. They need to walk around feeling very proud. Mtu asikuje kuambia, mlitukosea. Nasikia siku hizi mnanyimwa dates. Mnaambiwa hatuwezi kuwapatia date because mlifanya sijui nini na hizo vitu zingine zote. You see? If you pick the path least taken, at least for the Westerners, you determine probably where the country goes. So watu wa Bungoma mko sawa. Mtu asikuje kuambia ati sijui ni sifa mbaya, sijui mlifanya nini. Nyinyi as in now you realize the power of a vote. I have to repeat. The power of a vote, hata kama ni moja, it changes, it counts. So the next time you hear mtu anakuambia ata kura yangu itahesabiwa, just remind him that Bungoma was there.
Yes. I mean about Bungoma. Thank you so much. For the guys on YouTube, thank you so much. We have gotten over 1,200 followers in the last 12 hours on YouTube. Thank you. Asanteni sana wangwana. Mimi sijui naweza shukuru waje, lakini when I become president, watu wote wa YouTube nitakuwa nawapanga line nawapea kitu. Thank you so much. And the guys in the UK, it's a pleasure. Thank you so much the guys in the UK for being with us. Unasema aje?
Wewe unataka kwanza kupatia watu.
Unasema aje? Siasa hii ya kazi. Sasa mimi nikibarikiwa nawapea pia.
Ukiwa president.
Nikiwa president sasa nakumbuka wale watu wangu wa YouTube walikuwa wamekaa na mimi na chotea. Siko nitakuwa na Kenyan dollar. Thank you so much those guys who keep supporting the show. Atticus has been sending in British pounds since morning. Thank you so much Atticus. May God bless you so much. Atticus Ochieng all the way from the United Kingdom. Thank you so much for always supporting this program. The guys who joined us this morning, I'm seeing there are a lot of visitors who have come in. Also silent followers. Kama kina naitwaje hapa Smile Dentist. They've been silent followers on YouTube, and finally they've come out of the wood. We need you speaking on YouTube tuweze kuwa motivated. Watu wa Facebook pia, thank you so much for always sticking in with us. Without you guys, the tackle could never be. You have made the tackle what it is today, and I honor you and I respect you. And I want to tell you that in my kingdom, you shall not be forgotten. Until tomorrow. Mambo ya pia also the guys who have, if you have any idea, you have any content idea, any creative idea that you want to give it a chance. And I always keep saying this, that my dream is to see every dream getting a chance. Every dream should get a chance, however small it is. So in my own small space, I'm giving you an opportunity to realize your dream. If you have a creative idea that you've always said you want to do content, you want to do a podcast, you want to do a broadcast, you want to do video like what we do every single morning, you can talk to us, and we're giving you 1 month trial period. 1 month. Free trial period that you can come and get experience with our equipment, get your content done, get some little coaching here and there. Alafu tunaona mambo yako inaweza fika wapi. You're giving every dream a chance. However small it is, we are giving it a chance. Mine was small as well. Somebody gave it a chance. So I'm giving another person a chance. Ndio kesho tuanze kuwa na studio mingi, tukuwa na content mingi. We have more digital content running in space, and we're able to moderate the mainstream media. Mainstream media without competition will finish us. So lazima tukaba. Mimi niko hapa peke yangu na nimaliza. Like I'm standing strong. One man against many. Nakaa ngumu.
Wanamaliza wewe.
Wanamaliza mimi bwana. So I mean, talk to Steve on the number that's on the screen. By Apostle Pigay Simo Steve, you can get your appointment booked. Remember, you'll have a free 1 month and then you'll decide whether you're going to subscribe or not. Until tomorrow on the Diaspora edition, all the diasporas, I encourage you to join your diaspora citizens tomorrow. Your fellow diasporans, please join them tomorrow morning, led by Chairman Joel Arama. Kenadodoro will be there as well. So all the diasporans, please ensure that you can converge tomorrow on the Diaspora edition from 7:30 a.m. East African time until 9:30 a.m. East African time as well. And you also need to agree on your timings. Kama mchana yenu, mufanye show yenu mchana yenu. Alafu sisi mchana yetu tufanye mambo yetu hapa mchana yetu. But anyway, make a sacrifice tomorrow and have a conversation on the Diaspora edition. Thank you so much, Arnold, for coming in. Asante sana Mheshimiwa Justina Wamae for coming in. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much. We wish you all the very best. Kusema unataka kutengeneza chama, tengeneza. Watu wamesema wataigia kwa shamba. Tengenezea au shamba. Until tomorrow, this is a talk.